Oh my gosh. And the goatee is looking spectacular. Holy buckets of gravy. I love it. How you doing, Saban? Thank you for being our guest here on our next segment of the bonfire. How is work?
Work was frustrating. I don't like talking about work.
That's okay.
I work with rednecks and lumber guys.
Well, the best
10 years in the lumber industry would do that to you.
10 years. Holy
I've
shnikes.
almost 10 years in the lumber industry, yes.
I noticed your crafting skills. I know you were making a Mosin. What was it? A Mosin Nagani.
You mean this?
Yes.
I'm literally working on it right now. So
I was.
I can
I,
show it if you want. I'm sick.
yeah. No. Absolutely. Like handmade, custom. Uh, this man was doing the paint job when I came in. I was like, holy buckets, this is like really nice.
Actually, just put the Picatinny on for the bipod. And then I realized I'm missing a part, so I'm a little upset. But oh
There's
well.
always one thing. I'm one of those guys that makes small mistakes and just forgets that one thing, but it's usually a very important component to whatever I'm doing. So I'm like, fuck, man. Like, well, I guess I'm gonna.
Do you play Tarkov?
Tarkov, I used to. Yeah, I played a little
It's,
bit of
it's
it. Yeah.
it's the exact same problem where I realize I miss one little fucking thing when I'm trying to put the thing together.
Maybe one day we'll learn from our mistakes, but today we're just gonna learn from each other. So two rules. Oh, by the way, if you guys don't know what the bonfire is, we are interviewing streamers about their journey to becoming a streamer. Also talking about gaming, how they really got into gaming, and kind of like their social media use, if you would say. But for the most part, it's really just kind of to get to know the person, right? Because we see them all the time. We see these streamers oh my gosh. Sorry, it came out. Anyways, we see these people on screen all the time, and we don't really get to ask them and see what they're like in person. We don't get to ask these questions that are more about mental health and kind of how their brain ticks. So I appreciate Saban for coming on board and talking a little bit about him and his stream journey. So there's only two rules, and one of the rules doesn't really matter because you're not streaming, right? Yeah.
No.
So the only rule I have is if there's a question you don't want to answer, so if it's work, we don't have to talk about it.
Yeah,
Better
no,
yet.
I was a little. Well, no, it was more of a joke. I don't mind talking about
Oh
work, but
yeah.
it's really so irrelevant to what we're discussing here. I cut wood and I handle wood. The gay guy knows how to handle wood. Ha ha ha. There we go. So
You know what?
it's
You know what? If I had that skill, man, I would. There's so many things I would be doing on stream, but it's nothing I can't learn, right? Took you 10 years to get that those crafty little hands, right?
well, what I do is was more planing. I worked in a planer booth for 4 years. So any of those mills, like if you ever walked into Lowe's, Home
Mm-hmm.
Depot, Home and Hardware, whatever, all those two by fours are there's some guy behind there in a machine buzzing away, making sure that dimensional lumber is what you're buying. That's what I did. So
Mm-hmm.
140 decibel day in day out, 9 to 10 hour days, and now I work in a lumber yard, thankfully, and I don't do that anymore. So trying to slowly step away from that into Twitch more and more.
Of
So
course, of course. So the goal, the ultimate goal, is to be a full time streamer and maybe doing some of that crafty work online and aside from playing video games, right?
that is correct.
All right. And we will get more into that journey, but we're going to start with the boring stuff, which is the demographics. So, today, am I calling you Saban or is there another name I'm calling you?
You can call me Saban, Saban
Saban?
or Luke. People know my name too. I don't keep many things private, unless address, etc., the usual stuff, SIN number that I keep private. But people know me as Luke or Saban.
No social security number? I'm just
Well, I
kidding.
mean, you gotta buy me dinner for that one, or
I,
tell me that you're a Nigerian prince with millions of dollars that you're willing to give me for a small deposit, right? So
I think I can hook you up. What about your age?
I'm 28. I'll be
28.
29 here in July
Very cool. So wait, July. I'm sorry. I'm
17th.
17th. I'm 11.
Oh, really?
Cancer all the way, baby. Let's go. Gender, male.
Yes, I
No.
identify as a male.
All right. Race.
I'm Caucasian, with Ukrainian and Russian background. Mom's side was Dukabor, and my dad's side was Ukrainian. In fact, I have pictures of both back when I was a kid of both Baba and Guidos coming over with no shoes, whatever they had on their back,
Mm-hmm.
to escape the Hollandor, basically. So
Mm.
we have very Slavic blood. I enjoy my pierogi and my borscht quite a bit.
Do you and that's really like do you kind of like reminisce with your family about stories of coming on over and just kind of settling in the US?
I'm Canadian.
Yeah, or
Uh,
sorry, yes, you I
it's
completely
okay.
forget. Yes.
It's okay. But yeah, no, not a whole lot actually gets talked about that. My family is all over the place and loose and everywhere. That it's you have to ask, and I don't
Mhm.
talk about it that much anymore because one of my aunts, if I remember correctly, does actually have a concentration camp tattoo, and she
Mhm.
refuses to talk about it for obvious reasons. So
Right. Mhm.
there is negative connotation with that. That there's a reason they came over to Canada. So during a very bad time in history. In fact, ironic that we were talking about that Mosin, which that thing is literally from that time era, 1944. So or
Absolutely.
41. So dark times of human history.
I believe it's a Russian rifle, right?
That's a Russian. Yeah, well, they were on the good side, and then well, hmm. Do you want to learn about the Hollandor? Because we'll be here for a while.
I'm sure we'll
No,
have.
no, no, no. There were atrocities committed in all areas, but yeah, my family moving on has a lot of Ukrainian and Russian background in it. I used to be able to speak a little bit. I can understand it when it's
Mhm.
spoken. Need to get back into it,
Mhm.
but I
Would
can do the occasional no chiki briki and all that, all that fun stuff.
you would you consider your second language?
No, because
Okay.
I don't use it. The only way I know is that when I'm playing Tarkov and I can or other Russian games and I can pick out what they're actually saying and that what the subtitles say, and I'm like, okay, no, they tone that down a little bit because that's a little monk of TOS, so
Mhm. Mhm.
they can't type out in the subtitles what that man just said. So
See
it
the
involves a dog and your mother. How's that? So
I have a French background, so when I hear people like kind of speaking French, like sometimes they just butcher the language, man. Like, it sometimes gets to me, but like like you appreciate it and you can understand it, and but you can you kind of get you separate authenticity from, you know, you're trying, you're getting there, but it's
well,
not. It's,
there's also dialects too. Like I
yeah.
can tell when somebody's a high, and this might be weird, high Ukrainian or high Russian versus low Ukrainian or low Russian or slums.
Mm,
There's many different dialects, and that's where what's being said can get confusing sometimes because somebody with an upper class accent of French might say something that is completely misconstrued by somebody with a, like you said, a more brutal approach to the
mm.
language.
Yeah. No, French from northern France is way different from southern France, as it is different in
Yep,
Canada
there you go. Yep,
and other
there you go.
francophone countries. So absolutely, there's definitely different dialects there. So why don't we get more into more of the numbers games? So
Okay.
gaming platform, where you
PC,
usually
PC.
PC all the way,
Did
baby.
do did grow up on a console though because we didn't have money for a fancy PC. So my PC gaming has actually only been the last 10 years.
Very cool.
That wasn't an office computer
Right.
because I was trying to play PC games, but yeah, I would say my first PC was about 10 years ago. That wasn't a Hewlett Packard or whatever the hell my parents could afford.
Did you?
Integrated graphics.
Right, right. Did you build that PC or was it like
This is my third. This is
this is
my
your
third. So
third?
yes,
Oh wow.
yeah, yeah.
Very cool.
Every PC once I jumped into it, I built. I actually worked in IT before. I built my own PC, so it was. I could say I built many more PCs, but mine I can only count three. So yeah, no. Before I've done hundreds of PCs. Mostly friends have like helped me I can swear, right? I know I already dropped the
Yeah,
F
go
bomb.
for it. I
Oh
think
yeah,
you
like,
can.
help me unfuck this. So that's usually what it came down to.
I'm sorry. I'm just turning down because everybody's hosting and it just seems loud as hell.
It's okay.
Anyways, stream platform Twitch.
Twitch. I did try to mix around a little bit on Mixer, no pun intended, but pour one out. We know what happened there. So until Twitch comes out with until there's another competitor, I'm kind
Hmm.
of locked into Twitch, but actively looking because I'm not too impressed with Twitch's moderation and enforcement policies.
I I'm sure there's a lot of people that can agree with you there. Um, years. Okay, so over your lifetime, how many years have you been gaming?
24. I
24
remember the
years.
very earliest memories I remember I was 4 or 5, and my dad sat me down on his Macintosh, and I played Pathways into Darkness and Marathon. So
Really?
I white lie this on stream, and I'm sorry for those of you watching this interview. Doom
Mm.
was not actually my first game, but the very first game for me was Pathways into Darkness by Bungie, followed by Marathon, and a year or two later was literally Doom because
Hmm.
my cousin Darcy had built his own computer at the time, and he brought us all over and my family to show it off. And I remember after, and this is after playing Marathon and everything, Darcy sitting me down, and then I remember leaving. I don't
Interesting.
know. I don't remember what happened between the either hours or minutes or whatever passed, but all I know is I sat down and it was Doom, and I left, and I was thinking about Doom, and I wanted more Doom, but it wasn't my computer. So, yeah, for quite a long time, gaming has been pretty integral to my life.
Um, and when we kind of finish these, you know, just the demographics part, we'll get more into like you sitting in your dad's lap and playing games and like the games you played and even Doom. Like we'll get more into
Yep,
specifics about
that's why I'm
like
trying to keep them short for you.
yeah, no, no, absolutely, absolutely. So what about time stream overall?
10 years. I've been doing content. I wouldn't say explicitly streaming, but I've been doing content creation for 10 years
Hmm.
under different aliases. I did a lot of Star Citizen stuff, but 10 years overall so far now.
Hmm. Would you consider yourself you still a part-time streamer?
I would say more full time now. I'm
Okay.
part time at work and I'm trying to transition to full time hours.
Hmm. Absolutely. And so when you stream, is what is your average daily time? Is it like 5 hours, 6 hours?
I try to go for 5 to 6 now, and if I can, 8 just to get the principle of like an 8 hour workday.
Okay, stick with
So
the.
like when I have days off, definitely I try to go for 8. In
Mm-hmm.
fact, I think Outriders. I think with the Outriders release, we did something like 10-hour streams these last 3 days. So
It's a grind game. Holy buckets, man!
I've
Especially,
got. Oh yeah, we can talk about that later. I've got some fun stuff.
I can't wait. What about gaming? So aside from, well, this is not aside from streaming and gaming, but when you
Oh, just
game,
gaming and
yeah, gaming.
I wake up and I'm gaming. I have a coffee written. Well, I mean, here's my thermos right there. I wake up
Mm-hmm.
and I've got a coffee and game going. I come home and I play a little before I stream just to warm up. I'd 2 hours on top of streaming or more if it's a week. I've have time. It's just something I enjoy to do.
We'll say about 8 hours, right? Um, And okay, so now we get into social media use. So you use
Oh
Disc.
no.
Yeah, I know, I know, I know. But this is including Twitch as well. So
Yes.
Twitch, Discord, and your other outlets. What? What's the amount of time that you're using social media?
Pretty much from the moment I wake up, I'm on my phone to the moment I go to bed, I'm on my phone. And even during streaming, I'm constantly peeking or something. And I hate to admit that. So that's my
Mm.
answer. A lot,
We'll say 12 hours.
probably.
12 hours it is. So before you started streaming, how many social
Mhm.
media outlets were you using? I mean, you probably still were
Not
using
not
Twitch.
not enough.
Not enough. Well,
I
yes.
back then, before I started getting into like actual serious Twitch use, when it was YouTube, etc., I literally went with the mindset of throw that video out there and you'll be viral. Yeah. Well, I was a young dumb kid thinking my machinimas and videos would just explode,
Mm,
and maybe pull the Mr. Beast. But no, I had a Twitter, I had Facebook, didn't use it much. In fact, I
mm-hmm,
was even after going through my college and teaching me. I took 3D art, 3D development and UI design. So
mm-hmm.
um, they really pushed the social media, and I'm one of those people. If you tell me to do something, I'm like, yeah, I don't want to do it. And in mindset, if I could go back and just myself over the head for thinking that, I
Mm-hmm.
would, because I'm pretty sure I could have helped myself more now than being adverse to it then. So I would very little social media, only as much as I needed it to do.
Mm-hmm. So maybe like three platforms at most, like
Pretty
Facebook.
much
Yeah.
Facebook, Google, and Twitter, and even then it was a lurker Twitter, just to be like, oh, what is Elon Musk up to, or something. So
What about after you, or now that you are streaming?
now that I am constantly, in fact, as much as I hate to admit it, I've been considering getting into TikTok because it's the thing.
What? I sure.
Viewers are viewers are viewers.
Viewers of
It's I,
viewers.
my mindset back then was why do it, and now my mindset is how can I exploit it. So I hate being honest, but it's the way I look at things. Is, well, if I'm not using it, what am I gaining? Nothing.
Right. I
So
mean, it doesn't matter what the outlet is, just as long as there's a goal that you want to achieve, right? And that's usually to get your
let me
content out
let,
there.
let me
And
put it this way: you know who Mr. Beast is,
yeah, I do.
and now he has a burger chain. I literally was, smoking up last night, sitting there. What's going on? Oh, look at that, Mr. Beast Burger in Canada. So if you can use social media in that aspect to get your name that far out, you're doing something right. He used TikTok. He used same mindset I have now is why am I not using it? So,
Hmm. At least it's different from going viral with one video, right?
well, that's a lot of luck.
Well, you know what? I think with your talent, with your hands, I don't know, could find that magic one. Never know.
That means I have to buy more guns. But I say that like it's a bad thing. Oh, how
I
could I contemplate buying more guns?
it's not so. We're gonna get into it before streaming, but I was gonna ask you: do you like take out the guns that you craft? Do you like take them out, shoot them,
Oh
and
hell yes.
yeah?
One sec. Here.
Okay, okay. Oh!
Ammo.
There's a
Oh wait.
bit.
No, I don't like preaching and advertising myself as a furry gun streamer and not actually
Hmm.
using said guns. That's kind of moot.
Yeah, but it's still it's a nice hobby to have, and it's also really just kind of it's. So I heard there's a big shortage in bullets nowadays, and so
Shoot Russian,
yeah.
shoot Russian. 25 cents around for the SKS. 40 no sorry 68 cents around for the Mosin.
Hmm. And he gets the job done just like that.
Feel bad for all you Americans right now. You poor 5.56.
We figure it out.
Hold in your AR-15s. I'll find ammo for you, baby. I'll find some, even if it's 223 varmint. Zan is going to kill me. I know he's watching this.
All right, let's get into before stream.
I'm sorry.
I love it. I love the energy, man. I
The dot
freaking
dot
love it.
dot.
I love it. I love it. So you talked about when you started stream. I'm sorry. When you started getting into video games, you were playing with your dad on this Macintosh. And what were
Yep.
the games that you were playing again? I was
So
aside from Doom.
the first was Pathways, Marathon, and Doom. But my dad was also really into flight sims, so a lot of
Okay.
Microsoft Flight Sim, X Plane when it eventually came out, A10 Cuba. If it was a Comanche, if it was a flying game, he was playing it with me. So I had a lot of simulator upbringing.
Hmm.
We also did a lot of Tomb Raider. That was something that we would actually sit side by side,
Hmm.
and I remember very fondly Tomb Raider 2, because we started with 2 instead of the first,
Right.
going through the levels, trying to figure out, like, how do we get past this spike trap? Oh, Lara just got eaten by a T-Rex.
Mm.
And just that was some of my fondest memories with my dad. It's like, shit, how do we get that Jade Dragon? I don't know. Like, it was just, we had a lot of good games to play father and son growing up. So that later on into childhood, he eventually got me an N64 Star Wars Pod Racer.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh. GoldenEye, Perfect Dark. Later on, the Xbox came Halo, and then just eventually we had two TVs side by side, sound systems, everything. And as long as I got my homework done, we sat down, we fired up the consoles, N64, whatever, and father and son would game side by side. So I had a very gaming focused upbringing.
It sounds like your dad wanted to go through these experiences like together. Like you
He
know, I'm sure he wanted to play these games as well, but like he wanted to share that with you. You know, it was something
I
special.
feel he was living that passion through me because later on in life it dropped or for certain. We can get. I saw the questions. I'll get into that later.
Mm-hmm.
But early in my upbringing, he was a very pro gamer. So
Mm-hmm. And that's really important because when we think about our upbringing, who we usually play with when we find our original games, it wasn't always like online gameplay like what we
yeah,
used to
no,
see in
and
this
like
like
I said,
yeah.
N64, Quake, Team Deathmatch, GoldenEye, slappers only. We
Mm.
did what we
and
made it work.
and he wasn't worried about like age restriction or nothing. Like if it was a good game, he wanted to.
Uh, the very first thing ever remember seeing that was graphically mature was The Thing, John Carpenter's The Thing,
Hmm.
at age 6. I could not look at huskies for the next few months after that as a kid. I specifically remember having husky nightmares because of that damn alien dog. Uh, but yeah, no. After Alien. Yep, show it to Luke. Predator, Saban's gonna love it. Total Recall, why not? Terminator, sure. Brand. My parents' ruling was if you turn into an axe murderer, it's your fault. So
There you go.
I mean, you saw ammo in the closet. There's no skeletons yet, so I think I'm
No,
doing
not
okay.
yet.
Yet,
Maybe they're in the backyard. I don't know.
I mean, I do have this. Yeah, skeletons. I got this.
Oh,
There we go.
is that the
Yeah.
cat that always wants food all the time?
Yes, this is Versa. But, anyways, yeah, no, very, very mature upbringing and parents that, well, I mean, if you start exhibiting signs, we take it away. And I'd like to think I turned out better than worse. So,
Hmm. And that also got you really into sci-fi games, right?
oh
Like,
yeah, oh yeah.
yeah, yeah.
I had a hard time reading as a kid until my parents got me into Harry Potter and Lord of the Rings.
Hmm.
But on the sci-fi side of things, was my mom pushing the Harry Potter and fantasy. My dad is like, okay, well now that you're liking reading, Larry Niven, Ringworld, Werner Vinge. I mean, what do I have here? Isaac Asimov. I have a lot of sci-fi sitting on that shelf. So between the games and the books, brain went off into Fantasyland.
Hmm. Hmm. And that's awesome because when we are kids, we want to fantasize about things. We want to create
Don't
scenarios and whatnot.
don't snuggle the mic. I'm having an interview. Go away.
Yeah. Shoot.
No,
But
he
the
wants to send a laugh. He's just trying to snuggle the mic.
oh, of course they do. They're territorial about their laps. I know that for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like that's super special because I think your parents understood that and they wanted you to, kind of visit the most infamous like fantasies out there in books and video games. But I'm sure they wanted you to be creative and have your own
Well,
environments that you would be able to
on the
do on
plus
your own.
side, yes, it exposed me to many different stop it. Many famous. Okay, no, you know what? If you do that, you go down. No biting the cable. Sorry. It introduced me to many famous and otherwise notable pop culture environments. Like I mean, total like everything I just listed. It. I'm thankful for it,
Hmm.
even though some people question it, like, oh, how come your parents showed you that at an early age? It's like I was able to identify with not just kids but adults too when they were talking about movies or sci-fi or what they saw. It broadened my perspective
Hmm.
as a kid earlier rather than later,
Hmm.
and I got to appreciate things like The Thing. I go back and I still watch The Thing. Wow, this special effects is amazing. Meanwhile, watch I don't know, insert recent Marvel. Well, I don't want to bash Marvel, but recent sci-fi CGI
Mm-hmm.
movie and be like, why does the thing look better than that? Like, that's Puppet, that's CGI. Who slacked off in the graphics department here? Like, what the hell?
I'm sure.
That looks scary. That isn't.
I'm sure that pisses you off when you see CGI. That just is not going well. You know, that's
Well,
just
as a
yeah,
three in a 3D artist too, I
yeah.
understand the work that goes behind it, so I
Mm,
can't bash it. But
okay.
you can pick out bad stuff from good stuff.
Hmm.
Avatar, as much as people like to bash on that, I still look back on that as one of like the hallmark. I'm like, hey, you know what? Back then when this came out, this is a high bar. Like they did a pretty good job here. It looks a little dated now, but go back and look at like Phantom Menace, and you can see like little sprites walking around in the distance and everything, or Lord of the Rings where they were doing that too. It's like you can see the jumps where they started raising the bar more and more and more.
Yeah, and I hope a lot of those movies in the future will, you know, be looked upon as like, oh, well, this is kind of a milestone here. Let's keep moving forward rather than let's
I
keep.
literally force people to watch thing if they've never watched it when they
Yeah.
think that special effects are bad today. I'm like, bro, you got to see what they did with puppets and a little bit of slime goo. Like, come on,
So
this shit'll give you nightmares.
so you know, I'm aside from all the stuff that you probably keep track of with Elon Musk and stuff. When you were growing up, what was like social media like for you and kind of growing into it?
Well, it depends. I think you're relatively the same age as me.
Yeah, for sure.
We're both millennials.
Mhm.
Social, growing up through the age of the advent of social media, like obviously we didn't, the internet was a thing before we were born, but
Mhm.
watching it actually accelerate and take off, not just, well, this is a Google Pixel, but the iPhone, but the iPhone when
Mhm.
it came out, like the Walkman, the MP3 player. Like I
Mhm.
remember even just walking around in school and it's like, yo, that dude's got an MP3 player. And meanwhile, I'm sitting there holding my giant, then CD Walkman.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking
Right.
like, wow, shit, I better like hide this in my, shirt pants or something because this motherfucker here has an MP3 player. And then of course, there's that one kid, rich kid walking around with an iPhone. Like
Right.
just watching technology advance, the advent of Twitter, social media, and just the speed at which we're able to get something now, it
Mhm.
affected even my parents. And it's
Mm.
funny that you brought that up because back then I remember going to like my dad and I'd be like, "Hey, tell me about fish," or whatever would come to my head.
Mhm.
I would always ask him stuff, and he has a master's and very educated in the medical field, and yeah, he'd teach me. Later on in my years, kid, teenager years, go Google it. So right there, that shows just the change of like the speed at which we were able to get information and answers. It's been absolutely insane. And there are days where I lament being here in this time period because it'd be like, oh, it'd be cool if we were in like further ahead. But at the same time, I have to like rope myself back and be like, no, no, wait on, just hold on. This phone has more processing power than the rocket they put on the moon, so I can't really, you got to step back and kind of rein it in sometimes and realize, this went on the moon in a way. Like
Mhm.
it's been a very
Absolutely.
fascinating journey growing up
Mhm.
in the social media and technology department. So absolutely insane. I mean, there's always a new app or something every day now, and it's a little difficult to keep track of. But at the same time, I mean, the big ones, Twitter, TikTok, whatever, Instagram. Um, it's cool just watching people become more and more connected, especially during COVID too. So people have turned to social media as well as online more and more. In fact, even me with VR chat and
Mhm.
furries, and not even just furries, but people in general, being able to have an actual conversation and enjoy a gathering, even if it is in virtual. I
Mhm.
mean, sitting down with my community and watching a movie in a movie theater, I'm like, I need to do this more. Like I missed being in a theater. I mean, granted, there's a dragon over there. That's a fuzzy cute thing. Like, I mean, it's not a typical viewing experience, but pretty cool. I like this.
Absolutely. And
And I don't get the coof. So there you go. Like,
I remember you said that you weren't using a lot of social media before you started streaming, um, and you know you were kind of just staying with the news, like you were keeping up with the things that were going on the website. So you're more of like a observer,
Just
right?
an observer.
Mm-hmm.
It was only once I finally just got into content creation where I'm like, I need to start using this. I
Mm-hmm.
didn't want to be popular. I didn't want to be known, and that was ironic because I wanted to blow up. I just wanted to be like one of those, oh yes, here's my work. That's fine, but you can't really do that. You have to get involved. You have to be personable. People have to
Right.
relate to you. So it took a change on my part, both mental and you know physical, to get out of my shell, so to speak.
Mm-hmm. And as we kind of get further on, we'll talk about like persona and how that's changed over time for streaming. So we
Mhm.
have plenty of space for that. And so when you were kind of getting into this technology age of there's new technology coming out, you kind of seeing all these games coming out that you want to be a part of with your dad, how were you able to kind of balance that with your schooling
Oh, I
and
didn't.
you
I
didn't.
was a terrible kid for that. Oh, I wasn't the best when it came to homework and chores and everything. The more and more I got exposed to the games, the worse and worse
Mm,
it got.
mm,
In fact, I even remember at one point, in order to be able to play longer at night after the parents had gone to bed, turning on
mm,
this little desk light I had that was like a soft glow light.
mm,
And at the time, they thought I was sleeping, but I just turned the TV volume down and continued playing. I don't know, Quake, Marathon, whatever the hell it was. And eventually,
mm.
one day, I think Dad came upstairs and, what the fuck are you doing up at 4 a.m. And that was a big fucky wucky. So traditionally was not the best maintaining um, homework and work life balance. That didn't actually come until later with teenager and actually adult years when I'd finally moved out.
Mhm,
Um, Video games, and later on in life, some things happened between my dad and I. I came out, our relationship. We eventually stopped the father son gaming things.
mhm,
Um, there was a bit of an erosion in terms of uh, closeness. So
mhm,
video games went from something I was just passionate in to an escape
mhm,
and an addiction in a way too. So
mhm,
it's taken me a long time to admit that, um, but it was my world away from the world,
mhm,
just like books were. Like reading was another thing that I got really bad in fact, actually got in trouble in school for reading too much. I've had
mm,
multiple principal sit downs and, your son's reading too much in class when he should be listening. And the funny thing is, I get the homework done. And this is something I've learned later on in life. I'm one of those people that I can't sit there and listen to somebody ramble on. And I think it's the
mhm.
ADD, which I do have, because it goes in one ear and out the other. But as long as I can look at it or touch it or feel it, whatever, oh, hey, I get what you're talking about. Sure, let's get that done. So reading was me just sitting there going like, oh, turn to 68 page. Okay, textbook, read. Okay, cool. Meanwhile, I'll go back to, Aragon or something.
Right, right, exactly.
So,
I knew a lot of guys in my class who, they would skim through the readings real quick. They were very good. They were very analytical people, so they would just skim whatever the detail that was important, and then they would go back to their book. Uh, you must have really found a lot of things uh, that were more, I would guess, stimulating to you than just going through a textbook and like learning just a little bit of information. So, with that, you considered it an addiction. What kind, what kind of made it an addiction to you?
mostly, and now that I've gone back and like thought through my childhood and everything, it was the escape.
It was the escape.
Like
Okay.
once my dad and I started drifting apart, it was the feel good dopamine brain juice that I got from a video game and the acknowledgement that, hey, you're kick ass, good job, you get a high
Mm,
score, to, you're terrible, you're not going to succeed like this, you're going to be a loser, you're going to end up like your mom,
mm,
and a bunch of dark stuff we can get into. But on one hand, stick and rod. On the other, hey, shit, you're a kick ass gamer, dude, good job, high score, flashing lights.
mm.
Oh shit, I'm gonna take this option. Like, it seemed whatever I did, it didn't matter if I got an 80 or an 89 or it wasn't never good enough. So and I'm one of those people that rebel against it. I'm like, well, shit, fuck you too. So I'll go do something that makes me happy, which is
Hmm.
ironic considering what I'm doing now. But we'll move into that question later. So
Hmm.
since I did see it down the list, so
Oh yeah, it's getting there. So, while we're already there, we're talking about escape, and a part of what escape is kind of redirecting how we're feeling, and we put it into something else. And in your case, it's reading and gaming per se. So, talk a little bit about that stress when you were feeling that stress in day to day life. So if it was school or if it was um, some major events in your life, what was that stress like for you?
it was pretty substantial. I remember father in particular had very, and I think still has high expectations for me.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if he's given up by now, but uh, I had a lot of expectations on me right from the get go, being the firstborn. Like
Mm-hmm.
I'm the oldest of five siblings, as well as just the fact that I was his first son to be something great, a doctor like him, or s- something with 10 plus years of schooling and a master. Like I
Mm-hmm.
can, he's even told me literally to my face that he dreamed me to be some Elon Musk essentially.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember in school, I never, it's funny later as an adult, I found how to apply myself, especially when I did start going to McEwen or, doing post secondary.
Mm-hmm.
It was easier for me to find out now as an adult how to be what I want than what my parents expected for me. And I
Mm-hmm.
found that back then, I never felt I was good enough. I wasn't, smart enough. I wasn't, you know, anything enough.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that's why I found I ended up delving into those areas. I felt safer in my sci-fi worlds that they introduced me to. And I
Mm-hmm.
think that's what it felt like. It felt like a betrayal. I'm like, you guys got me so into this. And when I remember starting to do YouTube videos and trying to push into, content creation,
Mm-hmm.
that's not a real job. That's not
Mm-hmm.
worthwhile. Can you get a retirement out of that? Like it just complete slap in the face to compared to years ago where it's like, yeah, you can be really good at it. Like it just I don't know what changed for them or something, but it was welcome to this world and no, now that's verboten. So
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I answered that question properly, but
Yeah,
it felt like a betrayal almost. Like you guys got me into this and that like I don't know. So
it sounded like they had a certain vision for what they had it out for you. You know, they wanted to expose you to like books and sci-fi and video games and this two complete like these big worlds that we didn't know that was going to grow to this, but it did, and you found yourself in this world where you could really kind of branch out and expand your creativity. But then when you wanted to utilize your creativity, they didn't really agree with the direction you were going. So it just kind of sounded like they had a certain vision for you to kind of use these, I guess you could call them skills, because you have this understanding of this tech world or this creative open fantasy world, and they wanted you to utilize it in their certain way. Feel like when did you feel like when you had kind of like an understanding of what you wanted to do, that it was gonna, did you had to kind of move past this kind of high
yeah,
expectations
yeah.
you were talking about? Yeah.
Being that they were helicopter parents and wanted, well, I mean, I have memories of my father literally sitting there in class behind me. Like he would come in and supervise me because
Mm-hmm.
apparently I couldn't focus enough. And like I was apparently pulling out my hair as a kid. I remember getting in shit because I was that stressed out. I was just like ripping out chunks of hair.
Mm-hmm.
And I think you're right. Is that with that kind of expectation and upbringing, like they wanted me to just be this kind of golden child and
Mm-hmm.
golden role model that I rebelled against it that much.
Mm-hmm. Did and having that, I'm sorry. Do you have younger siblings, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Do you, brother, sister?
Three brothers, two sisters.
Oh, that's a pretty hefty family right there.
Divorce split. They're from different. Yeah, we're related by blood at least. My
Mm-hmm.
my parents there's a lot of divorces. Okay, that might also explain a lot of stuff. So,
Did you feel any pressure of being the older brother and
oh,
having to?
absolutely, I still
Yeah,
do.
yeah.
I still feel like I wasn't a good enough brother to my siblings, and that one of them has had multiple issues of hard drug use and
Hmm.
other fun stuff. I mean, the other it's we're all over the place in terms of happiness and where we want to be in life, and I feel like I just didn't do enough for them or wasn't the eldest brother that I could have been because I was so often hiding away and trying to hide myself.
Hmm. Absolutely. And being the older sibling is you considered the experimental son or the experimental kid because as you know, you're going through life like all on your own, no guidance. I mean, you have your parents, but you're it's a whole nother generation, right? And as we know today, we're seeing a lot of well, as I'm dealing with right now is doing research in a field that's been so prominent over time, but you know a lot of the jaded practices don't really consider it because they don't really understand it, right? So for as being the older sibling and in this new generation of technology and gaming and even books, like we're seeing that it's so much different from past generations, and we're just kind of doing it as we go, you
I
know.
mean, our boomer parents thought we'd be zooming around in Jetson style cars and tubes, but oh shit! I mean, the Tesla truck,
Yeah,
rockets a tube. Okay, never mind. We're on track. So
yeah. You're gonna be a Jetson in no time, buddy. I promise.
we're getting there.
um so what about depression, right? We talk about stress, and having those high expectations because of your parents. Um, you must have felt a little isolated, considering that,
Uh, yep.
yeah, you were finding a lot of that escape, and you were trying to find another place where you could really express yourself. When you found online gaming, what was that atmosphere like, and to meet new people all around the world?
In the same way with the furry fandom, and we can get to that too if
Mm.
you're interested. But with
Sure.
gaming in particular, just the online, yeah, just the online component of being able to reach out to other people with like-minded interests, like-minded viewpoints, mannerisms,
Mhm.
even if they, you're screaming, I fucked your mom or something in the mic back when we were on Xbox Live,
Mhm.
was that much more liberating than being with I don't I'm trying to find a way to word it, stuck with a boomer or dated view of the world, if that makes sense. Like finding your tribe, so to speak, or at least in
Mhm.
my case, was the craziest thing in the world. Some of my best memories in gaming are actually on games like World of Warcraft or Eve. Eve taught me to be an asshole, and if without Eve, I don't think I'd be here today. Eve is where I learned to never trust a human being. Nobody wants to help you, and kill every motherfucker you can and take their shit before they do it to you.
Mhm.
And in all honesty, that's kind of panned out in real life too, because it's the same way. You just can't no actual murder, but I mean everybody's so cutthroat in real life. I mean, I live in Alberta,
Mhm.
where everybody's always trying to climb over each other's back in any other job, and it's no different on Twitch or YouTube or otherwise. And I hate to say, to sound like I got to go, you know, get someone or grab someone, but I find
Mhm.
that those games and that upbringing taught me from a very early age that no, that guy's not going to double your money. He's going to scam you because we all fell for that at one point or another. So it definitely it helped with the stress. It helped with the anxiety. I felt more at home and more at peace with my friends and
Mhm.
online family
Mhm.
that I still see now as my online community members, and I see them as family than I do my own family. And
Mhm.
that's sad, and I hate saying it, but I've sat down with my brothers, some of them, and like our close friends and relatives, and the nuclear family that our forefathers and parents were raised with is just no longer applicable. Family is what you make it in my mind now, especially after I came out. um, I had a lot of bridges burned, not by me, because I, said I like bratwurst. Boo fucking
Mm,
who. But I lost a lot of friends that I thought were friends because of that. In the same way that friends who have never met me in person, who I still maintain contact to date, have been there for me, helped with tire. Like one dude who, two I won't name, back then before I started
mhm.
streaming, helped just blew my tires on on a job I was ranting. He sent me $500 right
Mm.
then. No, didn't even ask. He's like, I can't send a lot. Get yourself some cheap tires. I still maintain contact with this guy. Dad would be like, that sucks. So it was definitely always more enjoyable and less stressful being in the game worlds and the environment than with family. So I feel that it actually did save my life because I did take an attempt on my life back when I was younger.
Mhm.
Didn't work.
Mm,
I surprised my liver still works, but
mm,
I attempted, didn't work, and kind of took that as a sign that all right, maybe I just need to surround myself. Actually, no, this is a good memory. I was told a long
mhm.
time ago, and I don't want to name the person because they're kind of this is getting into more.
Sure.
They're known, so
Right.
they were doing
Right.
a
Sure.
tour. Anyways, I was told a long time ago to run with a band of mighty men,
Mm,
and or women. We can include the other.
sure.
Run with a mighty band.
Mhm.
And I started taking that to heart several years ago, and I have been the happiest I have been because of that. And surrounding myself with like-minded people and the family that I choose to have instead of the ones that are by nature my blood. I love
Mhm.
my brothers. I love my family. I love my daddy and my mom. Well, my mom is deceased, um, but I love them.
Mhm.
But it's easier to love. Let me look at your Lashoran or Zan or any one of these names I see who I know
Mhm.
than my own family sometimes because I
Mhm.
just want to punch some of my family sometimes. So my family is my darps. So
I'm I'm
hopefully I answered that. Sorry, I kind of went off on a
no,
tangent
no,
there.
that's great. And again, I have a follow up question, but I also want to say
Yeah, sure. Go.
I'm sorry about your mom.
15 years ago. It's
Yeah,
15 years ago.
wait,
Alcohol. Huh?
yeah, yeah, and again, like when we go back to, you know, that moment you felt really low, and you were considering,
Oh, I
um,
did.
yeah, and I want you to talk a little bit about, leading up to that moment where you had those ideations, right?
uh, it basically came down to I had screwed up something in post secondary, got a really bad mark,
Mm-hmm.
got the same fear and dread that I did when I used to hand into report cards. So this was like I was going to post secondary while I was living with my parents.
Okay.
So that same feeling and dread I remembered as a kid of, oh God, I got to hand in my report card was now manifesting as a almost adult, or at least I think I did turn eight. Yeah, I tried when I was 18 or 19. I don't remember. Somewhere around there.
Mm-hmm.
Um, just suddenly went to a dread of, oh wow, now you're an adult, you still fucked up, you're a failure. And it was kind of the spiral of, well, he doesn't really care. He's got two, I have two sisters. He's got two other prodigies or whatever that he can turn into whatever the hell he wants.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I'm not paying rent. I wasn't paying rent, and I have to admit that was nice. So I do
Mm-hmm.
give them that. But I'm not paying rent. I'm not doing anything. Nobody will miss me.
Mm-hmm.
And it's weird because at the time, and I didn't see it, my friends, and this is before I was even involved heavily with like furry fandom, whatever,
Right.
Twitch, all those people that have aforementioned, where I thought, yeah, no, and if I realize it now, I'm like, wow, that was a selfish move. They would have missed me, or
Mm-hmm.
would not have known.
Mm-hmm.
It just started fading away. I'm thinking that person's not going to care. That person's not going to care, and that just all these
Mm-hmm.
little strings and attachments started going in my head,
Mm-hmm.
and before I know it, I downed an entire bottle of tramadol because I
Mm-hmm.
had a surgery at the time, and I just took whatever opiate I had
Mm-hmm.
and drank an entire bottle of my father's scotch and
Mm-hmm.
passed out.
Mm-hmm.
Woke up the next morning woke up at 3:30 p.m. with the most intense pains I'd ever had in my life in my stomach.
Mm-hmm.
Couldn't walk. I don't know how I survived through it.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't tell my parents. They thought I was hungover, and that's what I went with.
Mm-hmm.
Checked myself into a medi center by myself.
Mm-hmm.
complaining of pain, and I had ulcers and a bunch of bad shit and everything. And they said, "What did you do?" And I just said I got in a
Mm-hmm.
drinking thing. I just realized this is the first time in public I'm talking about it publicly. But anyways, yeah, that's how that went. So
Uh,
yeah, that was the lead up. All those attachments, those strings, they were like ropes. I just your brain kind of gets in this self validating cycle of yeah, no, it's or confirmation bias. I think confirmation bias would be the proper term, where you
mm-hmm.
just like, yeah, no, that won't matter, that won't matter, and you just kind of slowly start disconnecting yourself from the world, and you're thinking, yeah, well, now nobody's gonna miss me.
Mm-hmm.
And it was the following days where you realize that was the dumbest shit I've ever tried in my life. So
I was gonna ask what
yeah,
the day after, you woke up and you checked in. What was
according
kind
to
of the
the doctor, I could have killed my liver.
yeah.
Well, it could have been more. There was a lot of. It wasn't good. It was. I think there's probably still some lasting damage from that. That's probably why
Mm-hmm.
I'm a little derpy and darpy on my stream. And the brain damage, and and the brain damage, and the brain to make light of the situation. But yeah, no, it's why I also take that seriously. Anytime I have people come into my stream and they're like, I want to do this.
Mm-hmm.
I tend to be very iron fisted with that, and it scares some people. But I'm like, okay, you're either going to do it or you're not. So here's an official helpline. These are actual professionals. I am not a professional. I'm just a streaming personality. You need to call this now, and you do not need to be doing this on a stream because. And I've said this public, and I hate it because some people probably are turned away from me forever. It's like you're either going to fucking do it or you're here for attention. And trust me, I know because I did, and it didn't
Mm-hmm.
work. So either I don't want to say that, but it's the mindset of you're either going to jump or you're not.
Mm-hmm.
And when I did it, I didn't tell anyone. I didn't leave a
Mm-hmm.
note. I was just like, let's do it.
Right.
Thanos snap. And ironically, I ended up losing a childhood friend who did something similar. No signs, no nothing. We knew she was depressed, but I grew up with this girl.
Mm-hmm.
She was 15 when she took her life. We had no idea.
Mm-hmm.
So it strikes suddenly, and those who intend to do it will do it.
When you
Those who are talking about it, yes, they need help, or but I mean rather the people megaphoning like I'm going to kill myself, they
mm-hmm.
need help, but they need attention.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, I hate it's just maybe like I said, it's because I've been willing to jump on that end, and by then you've passed that point where you don't care who the hell knows, you just want to get out.
Mm-hmm. When you found out about your friend, what kind of self-reflection kind of went on?
Rage.
Rage. Tell me about that
Rage that
rage.
I didn't do anything because this is afterwards when I had I was not living with my parents anymore. She was young, right? It's like she was a baby when I was growing up with. Actually, he's one of my viewers. Two of my viewers are from that same family.
Mm-hmm.
Rage that I didn't see the signs. Angry that I didn't help. Angry that I didn't. I should have seen this. Like fuck. Like come on. Like, it was less remorse, and I just remember being there during the funeral like you stupid cunt, you've been through this, like, and that's the thing is it's so insidious when somebody is absolutely willing to jump off that edge and do it
Mm-hmm.
because you really have to dig down and find out like, okay, are you actually okay, like,
Right.
or are you one of those like trying to get attention and that's what I mean. Like now that's why I treat it seriously every time. Now I don't care if you come into my stream and you say, well, I'm thinking about, all right, okay, let's treat this seriously. I'm not having this happen again.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the professionals, here's the line, let's get you going.
Mm-hmm.
No more second guessing this. We there's it's zero or one with me. I promise myself I'm never gonna let that happen again.
Mm-hmm.
And I've also lost friends to the oil field. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
growing up in Alberta, a lot of friends getting into the drugs, the cocaine, all
Mm-hmm.
that terrible shit in the oil field. And I can count on my hand Grady, Josh. Yeah, 5 friends who have committed suicide within the oil field.
So.
Every lot of, and those are highs like going through school friends.
Mm-hmm.
Oil field picked them up. Then at first they're fine. They make dollar bills, and they've got a truck, they've got this, and then comes the drugs, and then comes and then they're dead. So
Mm-hmm.
Same thing. If they're gonna do it, they're gonna do it. Or if in the case of drugs, they're just so far into their lifestyle and the depression of what they're doing that three in the case that was not intentional from what we knew. They just were partying so hard, then oops, overdose. So
You've had a lot of experience with grief and with a lot
a
of the
bit, a bit,
emotions, just a tad bit,
a little bit.
and so there had to have been a step or a move on your end to kind of handle that in some ways, to go talk to somebody or to really just find your niche,
The
something that.
funny, oh, go ahead.
No, no, you go ahead. Yeah.
Well, the funny thing is that there wasn't really a whole lot. Um, Growing up, I think it came down to literally just mental willpower at that point because like
Mm-hmm.
after the attempt, I remember thinking, well, shit, I'm still here at this point. Let's just 100% whatever the hell I'm doing, regardless of what my parents think.
Mm-hmm.
And also, I got kicked out around that time too. I came out as I identify as bi for the simple.
Mm-hmm.
I like my tacos and my bratwurst, but I prefer my men over my women.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a big issue for my dad. He thought it was a phase. We got into fights and issues over that too. So eventually got kicked out. It was most in part, I'd have to say, to my mental fortitude. I was just too stubborn to be, and I hate, beating my own chest there, like, whoa, yeah, I did it. But it literally came down to, I thought about, and it's ironic because I thought about like books and novels I read, Master Chief, he'd had to go through the Spartan program. And I'm like, well, shit, if that man had his bones literally spliced with whatever the hell all that nasty shit. If you ever read
Mm-hmm.
into the lore of Halo,
Oh
there
yeah.
was a war crimes against kids. It's pretty bad.
Mm-hmm.
Read about it. Anyway, if a kid can go through this, I can go through this. Nobody's gonna care about me if I'm a gay Albertan, whatever the hell, and no job prospects or whatever. They're gonna be like, get to work, you fuck. I can't say that word, the flag word, but anyways,
Mm-hmm.
get to work, you flag. But um, I got stubborn. I got a job at a lumber mill, and I like that one I mentioned, and just
Right.
started grinding like everybody else did. I'm like, well, if they're working for a paycheck, I can work for a paycheck.
Mm-hmm.
Another big part, and I have to give it to him, even though I am separated now. We'll be officially divorced in May, but was my ex husband.
Mm-hmm.
I did meet him back before he was my husband, um, online through the furry fandom, gaming, Minecraft of all places.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and he, despite all the issues we had later on with our breakup and etc., is a major factor for also pushing me too.
Mm-hmm.
He recognized that you're passionate about you're nerdy in your science stuff. You're passionate about your topics. Why
Mm-hmm.
don't you keep pursuing that? Because that's the happiest I see you at, not cutting lumber.
Mm-hmm.
So it it came down to being just super stubborn and having a loving partner at the time
Mm-hmm.
to push me through it.
When you were coming out and you were just kind of, you obviously had your quarrels with your parents, but when you were talking to your friends about it, who were those that you could really kind of express yourself the most, right? Was it more of, we were talking about,
It was more online.
it was more online.
The friends that I could rely on were the ones that I could cry to or rage with while we're playing Call of Duty. And in
Mm,
fact, or something. I remember there were times where my friends would be there for me, and they'd be like, "Hey, let's get out of queue here and just vent."
mm-hmm.
And there were some good nights where we just screw around in Forge or fucking Call of Duty, whatever, and just friends would be there and let me vent.
Mm-hmm.
It was nice to have that ear to just talk to. In a way, that was my counseling was online gaming. And it's funny because I remember my parents putting me through counselors, and I had more fun talking to my friends than the counselors. So it was pretty helpful.
I have two questions for you. First
Go
question:
for it.
is it okay to cry?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
They made me cry.
Absolutely.
Darps made me cry literally 2 days ago
Mm,
for a new motherboard and PC and CPU, and my own mod team give me crap saying you're allowed to. I think it's okay, yet I don't
mm,
because I'm stubborn, thinking, no, I can't. I have to put up. It's this stupid. It's that part of that stubbornness that I developed early on to just push through whatever the hell I can, hell, horse, or high water. And I've even had to bring myself back in and be like, no, you're allowed to cry. Process these. Admit that you hurt.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only way I pulled myself out of that, is learning to cry.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't as a kid. That was half the problem. In fact, that's why I ended up getting in a fist fight with my father because of that. I got arrested because of that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, that's actually where the kick out happened and all that. But
Mm-hmm.
anyways, yeah, no, I bottled my emotions. I still
Mm-hmm.
do sometimes. I
Mm-hmm.
think, no, just don't worry. Person online called you a stupid flag on the internet, and mother, come into my stream. Oh, okay, it's fine. Just it's nobody. Let him be gone. But I tend to be that kind of person that, everybody's always worried about the train engine constantly tooting. Saban is the plutonium. Don't let Saban get criticality, because
Mm-hmm.
it's bad.
Mm-hmm.
I've I've spent jail. I learned a long time ago that you can't, respond in force in
Mm-hmm.
civilized society. Reaching criticality is not good. Let yourself vent. Let yourself cry. Crying is part of that venting process. Even though later you think you want to feel rage, if you let yourself
Mm-hmm.
cry now, you might not feel that rage later. Because if you bottle it up, you can only have more rage. So don't do that.
so
Love you
you
too.
so you found a way to really express your emotions, even if it meant just being vulnerable, just for a little bit. With even considering Dark Nation, it's okay to be vulnerable because you allow yourself to let out those emotions that have been suppressed and stuffed down, and it
One
it
of the
bring yeah. Go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, sorry. No, I was just going to add to that. I did take psychology when I was going through post secondary. And one of the things I did have to learn is that, just like a broken bone, cut, a wound, if you get shot, you're going to go to the ER and be like, bro, I'm shot. Help me. And okay, well, let's get this man to the ER, IV, you get sick, you get, medication, antibiotics, whatever. People don't treat mental health problems the same way. They'd be like, "Oh, you're depressed. Well, that sucks. Just pull yourself up by your bootstraps, forehead." Like, if people treated mental health issues the same way they treated like a broken bone, like if your femur was jutting out of your leg right now, I'd be like, wow, man, you need to toughen up. Like, what are you, bitch? Like, come on, that's just a broken femur. You get up and go to work there, boy. Like, you wouldn't do that. You'd be like, what is your,
Right.
let's do this right now. This is bad. Like, people don't do that with mental health. And it took me, going through that psychology to learn that, shit, we just need to treat this the same way we treat wounds and other problems and fix the problem. Not just be like, wow, what a bitch. You're depressed. Well, sucks to be you. Go work to your 9 to 5. So
I know you mentioned that
sorry, I
you've.
just want to add to
No,
that.
that's okay. I mean, that's the best analogy is getting shot and then putting a band-aid on it and saying, "All right, you're good to go. Saddle up." But I mean, like again, you got to treat.
Just
Yeah,
oh,
right.
oh,
Just keep going, keep going.
dude, it doesn't work like that. You
Yeah.
need meds. You need to get Tarkov surgery bugs me so much. It's rip. Is this
Or
Far Cry? Let me just pop a bullet out of my
right.
elbow.
Oh man. Or even the games where you have to just keep taking a syringe like in Apex where you're just syringing somebody to revive. I'm like, yo, dude, like
So I'll be
listen.
I'll be I'll be quick here. I did, before I got kicked out, I was beginning to go through medicine. Like, I finally figured out my path. I thought, okay, I'll be like doctor like my dad.
Yeah.
I only did like half a year before it fell apart, but just learning like basic first aid and everything. There's times where it's like, okay, there's gentle nerves, everything here. You can't just keep jabbing yourself with morphine. It doesn't
Right.
fit.
It
I don't care what magic juice is in that syringe. He needs coagulant. He needs coagulant. He needs a lot of stuff more than just a needle right now. Okay, drugs do not keep you going. Like, oh, video games are great, but there's times where like,
it can overdo. There's definitely it could be a little excessive just seeing how, you know. Anyways,
that man needs a stretcher and
yeah.
bedtime, not more morphine. Like,
Can of corn, I'll be fine. Can of corn. Uh
let me get
anyways,
some quick.
You mentioned you had more comfort in talking to guy or people, ladies and gentlemen. You've had more comfort talking to people online than with counselors. Do you think that it was just that you haven't found the right one yet?
There was one good one I had, and I did bring up the arrest part and the fist fight I had with my dad.
Mm-hmm.
It came down to her being relatable to what I was doing. She understood gaming, she understood my passions,
Mm-hmm.
and just somebody who was technologically savvy. She
Mm-hmm.
understood social. I ended up getting paired with a probation officer who was really down to earth and understood the world I was in. Every other person beforehand, it felt like I was talking to an alien. Like,
Mm-hmm.
let me get into like my boomer phase here, but just you walk in and whoops. But anyways, I'll
Mm-hmm.
just so tell me how you're feeling today, and I'm just like, whoa, this feels alien here. So that
Mm-hmm.
was just walking into her office, and she's just literally slid an iPad to me.
Really?
What's this? She's like, I don't know, just browse while you're bored while we talk. I'm like, okay, so just start browsing in it, and I think I know she was probably watching, but just I was looking at gaming stuff and everything, but just that immediate let him do what he wants instead of trying to dig it out of him. Well, I opened up to her, so
Mm-hmm.
yeah, but that being said, that's why I found that friends were easier to talk to than like your
Mm-hmm.
traditional, counselor or something, because they were just normal people and they
Mm-hmm.
treated me like a normal person, not some specimen to dissect. Like, what's wrong with Saban? We better find out. Past the Allen Ranch. Like, wait, what? Like, so it being treated like a normal person and not just what's wrong with you? What did you do
Right.
wrong? And so like a specimen. I felt normal.
Mm-hmm. It always, you know, sometimes it can feel like counselors are trying to get everything out in one day, right?
Well, they're also getting
Sometimes,
paid for it, right? My
right.
friends weren't. They were invested into me as a friend. This person's like, well, I mean, this is going to be $500 for 2 hours. Okay, sweet. Like,
And
it's hard. Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna, I was just gonna say, over time, it's when we think about mental health, we think about, how we're feeling in the moment and like how to manage that in the moment. But when we think about mental health, it's really a marathon. These are not things that go away, um, just at a natural cause, or these aren't things that you can hop online and even game for. It's something that, you manage over time, but you also that's the amount of time it takes to really rationalize what's going on. For counselors, and even a good counselor, and you can find this in most places, but it's really about finding that one person that will stick through that marathon with you, that will run the whole 26 kilometers or with you. Oh, I'm saying kilometers, but kilometers. They'll do that whole pace with
You
you.
can use freedom units if it's easier for you.
Thank you, thank you.
I worked in a lumber mill. I know imperial and metric because both American and Canadian lumber trades.
You're just full of surprises, aren't you, buddy?
But nothing is more interesting than getting 2 3/4 and then having to convert it to millimeters for your Canadian customers. Okay, it became regular. Oh, look, American wood changes to Canadian units.
But let me ask you this: if your clients, yeah, you're getting money for it, but if your clients say that they're not getting what they asked for in the long run, how does that make you feel?
Are you talking about wood product or?
What product?
Oh no, nobody notices. It
Really?
converts over easily. Yeah,
Hmm.
I literally had a calculator if I had to convert for because the mill I ran with we used metric,
Mm-hmm.
and yet we would get American product or American wood orders with all the imperial measurements. So it's not like you make sure the measurement is the same, but just for in house we use metric because we're Canadian. So or I mean the winding for or machines that I've worked with, you get in parts that were impure. It's just something that you had to work. It's a Canadian thing. It's like being bilingual, so
Mm-hmm.
you work with it.
But you had a solution, right? And that,
Calculator.
yeah, a
I
calculator.
can't do it in my head. Don't ask me to do it. It
Listen,
was on the little post board there. I'd just be like, okay, what's this? Done. Okay, set the planer. It's good. Nobody's yelling at me. So
I'm telling you, in counseling, psychometrics is a lot harder because it's really self rapport, you know, and it's really what you give to us is what we understand about what's going on and how we can help you, right? So, as in every profession, there's just you. It's really just finding the right one that understands your metrics, that understands my metrics, that understands my mom's metrics, you know. So um, potentially there could be that one, and this goes for anybody, that will be the person that can understand your math really well. Um,
good
and
comparison. Good analogy.
well, you know what? Hey, man, maybe I should work in lumber. How about that? um, anyways, we got more into the just kind of like your upbringing and just understanding, what was going on in your life and just how we kind of led up to this moment where, you found the profession you love. You still have those skills that you like practicing for sure, but you know what you want to do. And so there's a couple of questions I have that kind of leads up to that, right? So the first question is, did you ever play games competitively?
No, sadly, well, yes, quotations. I mean, I took my game seriously, but never anything officially. Like I did say, I played Eve, and
Mm-hmm.
I would like to say competitively, yes, because everything was competition at the game, and there is literal money on the line with things in Eve. If
Mm-hmm.
you've ever heard any horror stories about Eve, but no, my friend did. I won't name him just for privacy reasons and
Sure.
respect his privacy, but he did MLG. I remember back then when like actual legitimate MLG and overall made about 10,000 through high school.
Mm-hmm.
Um, because he's really fucking good at Halo. And I remember thinking I was pretty good, but this is that guy that gets all the BR and sniper shots,
Oh
all
man,
the
those
trick
guys.
shots and everything. But that's the thing. So in bumfuck nowhere Morinville, Legal, back when I grew up in a rural area
Mm-hmm.
in Alberta, knowing that he's that guy, he's on MLG. Like that was back when like this was Machinima was brand new, MLG like that was it's not made fun of, wasn't made fun of then. It was like, whoa, he's playing on an MLG team. And just watching him come in one day and be like, yeah, or telling us like, yeah, I bought a new PC, I bought this, like, whoa, with what money or allowance? Well, I won like 5 grand. Wait, what? Playing Halo? So that was kind of my exposure to realizing that games were bigger than just what my little world. That damn, this guy's like just bought a new PC. He just built a new what? That was my grand moment and reveal that gaming was more than what it was in just my private little world.
And so how did?
So
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
no, go ahead.
I was gonna say, how did you find streaming and gaming? I'm sorry,
Streaming.
streaming, just streaming, and
Well,
Twitch.
streaming came later. My introduction to content creation, and if we're leading into this question of
Mm-hmm.
why I started, it's actually Red versus Blue. I'm
Hmm.
dead serious. My introduction to content creation before streaming was I want to make machinima. I want to make people laugh because that shit made me laugh. I remember marathoning all of Red versus Blue, Ruby, whatever, pre-game lobby, whatever the hell I could find on YouTube,
Mm-hmm.
of machinimas and just silly, game videos, sort of Gmod. Oh
Mm-hmm.
boy, lots of Gmods, the stupid stuff. And then later Source Filmmaker, and wanting to do that, and just I never even thought about making money with it. I knew that I could explode, but the concept back then I was just either immature or not. And it was never a mindset of, oh, I'll do this and I'll be the richest person. It should be like, this would be great. I'm so happy doing this, and there's no actual other thought other than just I want to do it. There was no planning.
Mm-hmm.
So it was just something like most things I do in life where I'm like, well, pull pin. Oh shit. Okay, let's go. And just run towards them with run towards it with grenade pull pin pulled.
Mm-hmm.
So
I used to love Red versus Blue when I was growing up and just watching it on YouTube and whatnot. Like I don't know if you guys know about Red versus Blue. It's pretty much like an animated series using both sides of Halo, and Red versus Blue is like trying to figure out how to beat each other, but it's like these personas that portray each character, and
You can't pick
it's
up chicks in a tank.
no,
I mean, yes, you can pick up chicks in a tank. You get like 2 or 3 chicks apiece.
I recommend you guys checking it out because it's hilarious. But like you never, so you knew about Halo and you knew about like kind of like the payout of it, but you were more looking at it for the content rather than the gameplay and all that stuff. I mean, you were a gamer, but it doesn't
I
mean
ne-
that
I
was it.
never understood why to go competitive when I could see these millions and millions of views over what we just discussed of
Mm-hmm.
some silly little Halo soldiers getting blasted apart and them cussing each other out and finding out. And I remember my dad showing me, like, we found the behind the scenes and everything, that it's really just a bunch of dudes that were acting. And again, and this is where I ended up getting involved into furries and D&D. And that's the funny part. It's not even the furry fandom. It's I love role play. I
Mm-hmm.
absolutely love role play. It doesn't matter if I'm rolling. I mean, I literally keep a bunch of D20 and D&D die right on my desk here. It doesn't matter if I'm rolling a character in a D&D setting and I'm a paladin, or if it's a dragon and I'm just fantasy playing, or if suddenly I'm just a soldier and I'm blasting shit. I just like the idea of take brain out of current boring life and become someone else
Mm-hmm.
or something else. And that's what I like acting. I got into acting a lot as in school, and I think that's why I'm able to articulate and talk the way I do online is just acting is so fun, and realizing that that's all they're doing. They're acting. That's it. I thought it was like some animator. It's like it was so simple on how what they did for Red versus Blue, and only later did it get crazy in Monty Ohm and they started animating the shit out of it.
Mm-hmm.
But just realizing that I can do this. And my brothers and I, we'd sit down with the consoles and we'd make our own stupid machinimas. I could even pull out some of my own and show you later. But it was just this mindset of you can make stuff with video games that aren't just what like, and it was just an eye-opening experience that I feel good watching this. I want to make this. Let's try it.
Was this the start of you branching out your creativity and
Yes,
like?
absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Do you feel like you were expressing some part of yourself, being able to create these characters and put a certain persona in these characters and have them
100
doing a certain,
100%.
yeah, yeah. Tell me about as that progressed. What were kind of the things that you learned over the course of time content creating?
I learned YouTube sucks and it's hard. YouTube's really hard. Um, many times uploading videos, yay, I got 50 views, woo. But um, just if anything, learning to actually apply myself to something I want. And this is
Mm-hmm.
again where I started to reaching adulthood and realizing that if I wanted to learn about something, I have no problem sitting down and grinding out for hours how to keyframe something
Mm-hmm.
or balance my or microphone audio or something because I want to learn about it, not this is what this teacher says I should learn because I might be using the Pythagorean theorem sometimes,
Mm-hmm.
still haven't. But and yeah, actually, no, I have never used the Pythagorean theorem. Interesting. Anyways, point
Me
being is
neither.
filling my brain with stuff I want to use and apply versus not. So if anything, even if I didn't become rich and famous or whatever the hell, proper microphone techniques, proper editing technique, just applying myself and learning and continuing to learn and not being afraid to learn and asking
Mm-hmm.
questions. And that's the thing that I've always done. I've always asked questions, and I've gotten in trouble for it. And like I said, in school, but I'd
Mm-hmm.
piss people off because Luke always asking questions. Yet I always seem to get somewhere when I'm asking questions. So we're in a society where it's like, well, go Google something, but at the same time, where it's like, no, I'm trying to learn right now, and I'd like to, more efficiently do this. You're here, you can help me. You either don't want to, or we'll find somebody who will. And
Mm-hmm.
if I absolutely have to, yes, I'll Google it. But more often than not, WebMD is telling me I have cancer when I have a cough. But I try to avoid the Google list unless it's actual research, because goddamn WebMD telling me I have pancreatic cancer when it's just a flu, it's okay. But
Oh my
yeah, no,
gosh. Yeah, I think we all had that experience where we're just worried.
what is mucousy discharge? You have cancer?
Yeah.
No, I don't think so. But yeah, no,
Oh.
just that upbringing, just going through the YouTube saga that I did, eventually landed me with the Cloud Imperium. I didn't officially work for them, but I was doing a. I still have my Star Citizen dog tags. I carry the card, my citizen card, and I'll keep it simple because I don't know what your stance is on that game or chats.
Mm.
But I got to meet Chris Roberts. They actually flew me down to Texas. I did a stupid little just YouTube series covering the weekly news of what was happening in Star Citizen. Got to meet Chris Roberts, Wingman Peterson when he was still part of the company. Most of the core CIG staff before they exploded into what they are now.
Mhm.
And that was also another eye opener to me. Like, holy shit! Like, I could get involved with like the gaming world here. This would be I didn't know what. I just knew having a job like this would be great.
Mhm.
It opened my eyes to there's more to this than just mental health and screaming and fun on video games. Like, this is an industry here. There is
Mhm.
billions of dollars associated with it, and everything that my parents had ever said, like video games are useless, there's no, you can't retire in video games. Meanwhile, looking at this office that I bought, it was like, okay, Dad, gone. Like, just disregarding whatever you just said in the so. Oh
Up.
yeah, but by the way, to bring it up for LaShorn,
Mhm.
Texas also has really good burgers.
Oh yeah. Oh,
Oh, I had some good burgers. My
and
chat knows how
that's
much I like my burgers.
aside from the barbecue and everything there that we could talk about, but I I swear, like you're gonna get my stomach
Hey,
yelling at me.
I'll be quick. When I was visiting Cloud Imperium, they took us out to dinner once. Wingman bought me a whole, and this he was the co-producer back then alongside Chris Roberts. He
Mhm.
bought me a whole, oh, what was it? It was a blue cheeseburger with like loaded fries and everything. And Canadian terms, I'm thinking, decent sized burger. What
Mhm.
it comes out is this fucking platter of like a dragon burger, and I'm like, I'm gonna die. Like this thing was like a dinner plate burger and fries and everything. I just remember looking at him like,
Holy
I
shit.
I have to eat that. He's like, yeah, man. Tearing into it. Dr. Hawk was my old name back then. He was like, going for it, Dr. Hawk, enjoy, man. Pat on the back, going off and talking to other fans. I'm just like, that's how I die. Okay. Just start eating big burger. But yeah, no, we'll talk about the food later.
Are we gonna get into the origins of Doctor Hawk? Cause
If you're interested.
yeah, no, what? Why? Let me know.
Before Saybin, I went through a lot of different aliases. This was an alias that came out when, again, through going, this was right after the med school and thinking I was going to be a doctor. I had a falcon growing up. His name was Issa,
Mm.
and I like hawks and birds of prey. I wanted to be a doctor. Hawks, Doctor Hawk. That's literally how I came up with that name. So it was Doctor Hawk's Star Citizen FM, the little YouTube radio show I did, and then everywhere I went, I just was known as Doctor Hawk. Um, and then even to date, my email includes Doctor Hawk, so it's kind of a little throwback before I, delve down the furry trash, dark hole. But yeah, no, Doctor Hawk. I still even have the art done up of and everything. That was the persona that I was trying to pursue that back then. I don't actively involve it anymore, but I don't haven't tried to bury it either because it is reflective of where I came from. And
Mhm.
I mean, a lot of one of my best friends who, and it's his fault for getting me involved in the furries, so you can blame him. Actually, I'm trying to actually, this is some NDA stuff, so I'm trying to. He has done contract work for Cloud Imperium
Mhm.
and was the reason I got involved into the stuff I did. So that friend has actually come up, and I finally have met him. He's
Mhm.
dating somebody else up here in Alberta, but coming full circle and okay, actually that's something quick to jump into.
Mhm.
Being able to finally meet one of those said friends that we talked about earlier,
Right.
give him a hug, have dinner with him, have a
Mhm.
berg, get shit faced drunk with each other. I mean,
Yes.
that from computer or TV screen and an avatar or a Halo person or whatever to pass out on my couch.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty cool. Okay, so that was another liberating experience. But yeah, no, to bring up, go back to the Doctor Hawk persona. Yeah, no, just a stepping stone, I'd say, on the path to content creation. One
When
that I don't use anymore, but acknowledge because it's part of me.
mm. And so now that you have become Saban, where did Saban really come from?
All right, so now we're gonna rewind again because this involves part of the queer discovery too.
Mm-hmm.
I knew I was weird from a very early age, and I'll try not to keep it light because you're interviewing me and not queer science. But I knew I
No,
was
no,
weird
no.
for I was knew I was weird for a while.
Mm-hmm.
I was part of the swim team as a kid, okay, and then later on in teenager years, puberty, all that fun stuff. How do you think I felt as a male,
Mm-hmm.
expected to like women, in the swim team, getting aroused? Also going through, I was a Sunday school kid.
Mm-hmm.
So I knew from a very early age that I'm either going to get struck down by lightning, and I changed in the change room because I thought, "Wow, I'm fucked" or something. Like, what's going on here? This is weird.
Mm-hmm.
To eventually realizing that I'm a now happy homosexual man.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, the Saban part actually came way back before, with my parents introducing me to the reading. I've always liked sci-fi and I've always liked fantasy, and my very first exposure to dragons was not something weird on E61 or the internet or anything. It was actually Dragon Riders of Pern by Anne McCaffrey,
Mm-hmm.
and also Tolkien, or Tolkien, I
Oh,
can never say his name right.
yeah.
Lord of the Rings. The
Mm-hmm.
very first thing I read that I remember, because this is before Dragon Riders of Pern, was The Hobbit.
Mm-hmm.
That was my stepmom's attempt to get me to read something more than just a comic book. And I remember just being hooked. I'm thinking, holy shit, these things are great. Dragons, these are cool. So I also went through a big superhero phase as a kid.
Mm-hmm.
Marvel, DC, I don't care. I love superheroes growing up. Just the attraction of, wow, I wish I was that powerful, combined with fantasy.
Mm-hmm.
I came up with my own dragon species as a kid, and I have notes, I have sketching, and then I could pull up some digital. I've lost all the paper ones sadly, but I made these Marvel inspired superhero dragons, and I wrote stories about them in school and everything. And I had, friends. It was just my own little private world. I did, and this was like 11 or 12. So Saban has been around, or at least in iterations of him have been around for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Exposure to D&D again brought my love of role play into question, into play,
Mm-hmm.
and around my teenager years, and when I met that friend and it started doing the Dr. Hawk thing and later adult,
Mm-hmm.
I found out what the furry fandom was. And coming into that fandom was very quick because everyone's like, "Oh, you got to make a character and everything." Meanwhile, me with my like duotangs of just and it was more like D&D scribbling. Just dragon does this, just dragon does that. Just like, okay, so the one I use is Saban. Here you go, done. I never viewed it as something weird, or people ask me, it's like, how did you become a furry, or like, what do you do? It's like, it's no different than rolling a character for me. Like,
Mm-hmm.
Saban is a character that I like. It's character, like it's role play. That's like
Yeah.
that's the whole joy I loved of it. And after Doctor Hawk, kind of there was a falling out with kind of just some Star Citizen fans and the situation. There's
Mm-hmm.
very that's a whole I don't want to open that can.
Yeah.
I'll
No.
be
Sure.
I'll be here ranting all night about Star Citizen. But no, long and short, I use Doctor Hawk as my online persona, but everybody from the longest time had always known me as Saban. I use Saban in chat rooms. I use Saban in Eve. I use and so eventually it was one day when I'm sitting there streaming and I wasn't happy with my branding or where I was going with my two viewers or whatever. I'm like, maybe I should just stop lying to myself. Because as much as I love Doctor Hawk, I put on this nice persona of a nice, calm, collected individual who knows what the shit they're doing. When I'm a derp, and I just said, you know what? I'm Saban. Saban is me. Let's just go forward with it.
Mm-hmm.
And there was no real hesitation. It was just more, okay, well, you're happy doing this, and goes back to the conversation we had about being happy and admitting to myself, okay, this is the next step forward. Who
Mhm.
cares if you lose some followers or some viewers because you're using your persona now or whatever? There's tens of millions, if not hundreds of millions of view hours on Twitch every day. The one guy that comes and be like, "Oh, I don't like your 3D avatar," and I'm like, "Okay, fine. Well, here's the door. Go."
Mhm.
If you want to do the "all right, I'm a head out" thing, go for it, SpongeBob. There's the door. So
So, we always talk about how our persona changes over time because or no, our true self over time changes because of our persona. But if anything, you chose a persona that emulated your true self just to start out with. And how long into your streaming career, did you make this change?
I've been streaming, I'd say consistently, or actually like grinding Twitch for the last 2.5 years. So
Mm-hmm.
before that was when I made the change from Dr. Hawk and realized that if I'm going to go forward with an actual brand, something, because Dr. Hawk was cool, but I never really had a brand, so to speak, of the DARP, and we can explain that later.
Mm-hmm.
Just, just if I'm going to actually turn this from a passion to a business, and that's how I view my streaming as a business,
Mm-hmm.
I need to start treating it like a business. And it was less so, oh, I want to be a theory, woo, fairy sparkly bits, or whatever people think furries are, and more just, I have the art invested because of course, by then I'd already commissioned art of Saybin as a kid,
Mm-hmm.
whatever, literal thousands of dollars worth of art. I already have the art. I already have, the established brand within my friend circle. People know who this is.
uh-huh.
It doesn't have to be furry only, because I mean, even the skull, my viewers who are not furry, who like to be part of the community, just the raid skull or the Sabin skull, they identify with that as like, well, we're part of your legion. And
Mm-hmm.
I mean, so there you go. It was more just realizing that the transition from this is my persona to, well, I can brand this. This is something
Mm-hmm.
people can rally behind. Is something that makes people giggle, and I know LaShorn's probably just blushed at that, but it's something that I could roll with and innovate and I couldn't do anything with Dr. Hawk. There was nothing really that stood out with it. Saban, I mean, even the comments I get, I was like, "Wow, is that a dragon or is it what is that?" And I'm like, "Well, it's
Mm-hmm.
a space dragon that I came up with when I was 11 because I was addicted to Captain America and Spider Man." Like, and actually, famous man, thumb chest, rest in peace, bud. Stan Lee. He's actually a big inspiration for me. Never let somebody tell you something stupid. And he said that a little more crudely, but this is coming from the man that made a web superhero
Mm-hmm.
based on spiders. So if Excelsior can tell you to pursue something and never let someone tell you it's stupid, why can't I stream with a dragon avatar?
Absolutely. And there's a whole nother concept to streaming that we're kind of not touching on, but this creation of the character is half of it. It's like, if anything, 60% of it, because it at first we know that we're not going to get a lot of viewers or followers at first, so we're really streaming kind of like for us to put ourselves out there. But there's also a certain goal that we have, like an end goal, this big thing that we're working towards. What would you say that goal was when you first started streaming?
See, I never got into it with the mindset of like I'm gonna be I didn't know what I'm gonna be done. I didn't even know Twitch partners were a thing when I started.
Yeah, right.
I didn't know Twitch partners were a thing. I knew Ninja and these big guys made millions of dollars, but I'm like, fuck, I'm never gonna get there.
Hmm.
I never came into it with the mindset of money. It was
Yeah.
my significant other, my ex, and myself knowing that, well, I'm happy when I do this. It's cool. It was only later when people started like, holy shit, people are subscribing to me. What the hell? People are.
Hmm.
What are you doing? Why are you? People. But it was only when the ball started rolling that I was like, this is something I can build upon. It was just a passion that I got into because I felt happy when I did it. The happy dopamine and endorphin juices were being squeezed out of the brain, and, well, screw it. Whoever wants to watch will watch. Who
Mm-hmm.
cares if this person doesn't raid me or not? Like I never really got involved in the drama of Twitch until late, well now and later within the last few years. So I think it was maybe more my country upbringing and just being kind of like a closet hermit recluse, but it never really occurred to me that there's like a whole industry and cliques and bubble communities and cancel culture and all that fun stuff that is part of the platform now. It
Mm-hmm.
was just, again, and I mean this when I tell my viewers and anyone that comes in, I stream because it makes me happy. When I come home, I want to be with you guys. The money and the fame or the followers is a nice side bonus, but
Mm-hmm.
to date, I actually start to get depressed the longer I don't stream, because it's like, well, shit, I haven't seen LaShore in a while now. Fuck,
Mm-hmm.
are they okay? Like like it bugs me because I'm like, darn, I want to make sure I'm there for the Darfs, man. It feels good for me, so I don't really need a reason or money, or, well, I mean, the money's nice. I pay my bills now with it, so I
Right.
feed the cats. But anyways, it comes down to just I'm happy doing it. I went through a lot of post secondary, a lot of career paths, and after 10 or so years of the generic 9 to 5, I'm realizing that I like the chaos of Twitch. I like the chaos of content creation. Is it a safe career path? No, and I wouldn't tell anyone else to do it. But it's good for me because my brain, and I either the ADD or whatever, I need some that constant. This day is different. This day is not the same. If it's
Mm-hmm.
coming in and, look, we need you to cut 5,000 sheets of, and meanwhile, it's like you got a 10-cent raise over the last, wait, sorry, 10 cent. Our CEO reported profits of 15 million. Wait, what? I got a 10-cent raise and he got 15 million. What? So,
Yeah.
I'm thinking I need to change careers here. I would rather throw out as an independent contractor that, Amazon and Twitch calls us,
Mm-hmm.
than work for the big guy.
Mm-hmm.
So, why I stream? I feel good. I at least feel free, and I'm pursuing something that I want to be doing and not just cutting the wood.
Mm-hmm.
So,
It's one thing to feel happy. It's another thing to feel satisfied, right? When we feel happy, it's like short lived. We're in the moment. We're enjoying what we're doing. But when we feel satisfied with what we're doing, that's so long lasting. It's just so wholesome, right? And I feel like that's what you got from streaming. Is when it started out with these moments, but then it's just started to become. I can't imagine not going, a certain amount of days without doing it. This is kind of something that is a part of me now.
one of my favorite Bungie vidocs, actually, this is kind of my mantra now, is Halo. Way back then, if you
Mm,
remembered, they pioneered the 30 seconds of fun:
mm,
shoot, grenade, reload,
right.
repeat. Keep that 30 seconds of fun going.
Mm-hmm.
That is what they wanted to do for their players. And when I took video game design and 3D and all that, that became a lifestyle thing. I kept thinking, okay, well, how can I take that 30 seconds of fun and turn that into 30 seconds of happiness? How
Mm-hmm.
can I keep that 30 seconds of happiness that happens every time I'm on stream, when the viewer donates, or they clip me saying something stupid or something? How can I keep repeating that? Because that's how I want to live my life, not, I just need more oil in the planer bed. It's just, one of these makes me want to gouge my eyeballs out with a
Right.
spork, and the other one I want to come home and stream for them every day. So
Mm-hmm.
it's it transformed from 30 seconds of fun to 30 seconds of happiness, and now it's just, let's keep that going.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And when you mentioned you streaming, aside from your ex who encouraged you to stream and wanted you to pursue your passion, what did some other friends, and maybe some of your brothers and sisters, what did they think about you streaming?
One of the brothers thinks it's a waste of time. This is also the drug user one.
Mm-hmm.
Another brother also pursued the same thing. He did streaming for a bit. He actually eclipsed me for a while. He had more follower growth, everything.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I don't think he was either making enough or he wasn't happy with it, because he's now pursuing professional competition shooting as well as military.
Mm-hmm.
He is actually trying to get in right now for I think he wants to do special forces. I don't know if he can get in for that, but I support him.
Mm-hmm.
I said, if you're going to pursue anything military, we're very military focused in my community.
Mm-hmm.
I've had family that are RCMP, military myself. I mean, my love of guns isn't just because of guns. It's just we have a lot of military in the family.
Mm-hmm.
So, if he wants to pursue that, go for it. But overall, long and short, not a lot of people actually really. It's not that they didn't support. They're just like, okay, if you're gonna do it, sure. A few close friends, like one of my best friends, personal, he's like, man, just keep going for it. This is the same one that was an MLG.
Mm.
He burned out. He found that the spotlight combined with the teams and his own streaming, he's like, "Oh, this is too much. I can't do that." But he saw that I wasn't doing it like he was competitively, where he had to be up at 9 a.m. and practicing, map control on Halo or something like that. He
Mm-hmm.
said, "Well, what you're doing it because you're happy. I was doing it because we were trying to win. We were trying to make money,
Mm-hmm.
and that grind is what killed me. You're pursuing your happiness, so go for it, dude. And I will kick your ass if you give up." So he's got my back. So majority were just kind of indifferent, but the few close friends and family, they're like, "Yeah, go for it, man. Keep pushing, keep trying."
How did that feel to hear those positive words of encouragement?
Alien again because of the upbringing in the past where it was the whole "you're a failure, you're not going to be able to do this" to suddenly, "Yeah, man, you can do this. You got this, man." That it was. You can ask some of my viewers. My community knows this. I have a very hard time either admitting or accepting praise or accepting any sort of good vibes. I have no problem with self-deprecating humor, but you call me a good boy or a good person, compliment. Uh, and unfortunately, I think that's because of my upbringing. I'm just and naturally repelled to any sort of positive feedback. But in my head, I'm like, I feel good now, thank you, even though my body is reacting differently. But so yeah, no, it it has encouraged me to keep pushing forward.
Maybe one day you'll not be so numb when you hear a compliment and just, feel that. I don't know if it's butterflies in your stomach or whatever it is, but you'll feel some sort of, heat, some warmth, something to, like, kind of just seize the moment, right? um, so, that's obviously we talked about how, your family had mixed reviews about you streaming, and that kind of corresponded over to, okay, well, I know what to look for. Now I know what kind of are the limitations, like things I need to look out for, but I do know what the end, well, not even the end goal, but what to look forward to, more or less, in the end. Um, when you finish your stream and you're looking back at your videos, um, whether to review it or just to, sometimes I have my stream in the background just to have my stream in the background. What are some of the things you're looking for?
Honestly, and this might sound bad, I don't pay attention a whole lot. Like I've actually gotten more critical as of late now that I am trying to um partner push. I don't make it
Mm,
public or anything. I am pursuing the in the background. Okay, let's make sure that we're picking proper games. We're, not picking a deck directory, but it never really came down to like self review or yeah, no, I know it sounds strange because I don't want to say that I've been flying by the seat of my pants, but half of it is I really have been. And it's only been in the last year or year and a half where I've actually sat down and be like, okay, we need to approach this a little bit more seriously
mm,
this time and not just like, well, shit, frog blast the vent core and just hope for the best. But as of late, it's more just like I said, I'm making sure that okay, did we have a good time? Was I, were people laughing? My main point is, did we have fun? Did I
mm-hmm.
make some people's day? Did I smile? It doesn't matter what was the view count. Did we get a rate of 5,000 people? Did Co Carnage rate? Because that's an unrealistic expectation. After that, I do start looking into metrics. Okay, what happened? Did we get raids? Where were the things coming from? Where was the traffic coming from? Why was this game doing good? Why was this game doing bad? And just kind of a review of what worked and how do we improve on it upon it. I found that back then when I first started, if I focused on I didn't get any followers or my viewer count wasn't great today, that actually started sapping the happiness out of streaming.
Mm-hmm.
And I find that you need to have a very careful approach if you want to pursue this career wise with happiness versus metrics chasing,
Mm-hmm.
because I think you might have friends who have done this too. I have watched too many goddamn partner pushes in my life
Mm-hmm.
only for them to burn out and fade away, and I've never see them again, or just actually, one sec, let me do something. I won't say their name, but I know they're probably in the list right now while I'm looking at your stream. Scrolling all the way down. There
Yeah.
he is. This dude has 53,000 followers and he's at 13 viewers.
Hmm.
Used to be really big in a certain. I'm not going to label anything. I don't want it to be,
Sure.
you know, labeling, but that's the point is big partner push, lots of hype. I got this streaming with 13 viewers,
Mm-hmm.
burned out. And then constantly seeing on Twitter, why does nobody like me and everything, got into this. I've tried to reach out to this guy and be like, yeah, let's play together. Let's do something. Doesn't want to.
Right.
You can lead a horse to water, but you can't force it to drink. So
Mm-hmm.
it is a careful balance of, did we have that 30 seconds of happiness, and okay, are we also on, business wise, how is the growth, are the stonks going up, so as long as stonks go up, dragon is happy.
Mm-hmm.
So
There's something that I see within you, for example, that some people who do have that burnout that don't really have is that joy in expressing you know creativity, right? Like that content creation. That you don't see a lot of streamers, who start to grow first have a lot of content, right? They're just being themselves, and people are starting to chime into them, and sure they'll send a follow, they'll sub and whatever. But it's not like they're getting the word out there really. And then once they start to get this growth, then they start to really like have to, well, in some extent, to get their content out there, put it on YouTube, TikTok, Twitter, whatever it is. But it's that joy in doing that, right? Like when you get to that point of like, okay, well, maybe I should branch out. It's really not a big deal for you because you enjoy it. You really
I,
do.
I started backwards. I came into this as like, I know how to make machinima. I can make well, back then I didn't have the guns, but I can
Yeah.
I know how to use these tools. I can do this. The technical knowledge is there, and then I realized I was, burning out trying to push it out there and seeing 5 viewers, 10 viewers, or 10 views for YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
And now I'm realizing it's the opposite, where, okay, let's just focus on the streaming. And then when I have more free time, then maybe do a video. Like Outriders, for example. I've got a build where you can literally run around with infinite ammo with a shotgun. And my DARPs were watching. I was just walking around capping enemies and like crit, crit, crit. It was like playing Warframe all over again. It's like, this is great. Shotguns in video games don't work my ass. I've got this. But and then I'm thinking, okay, well, business wise, people might want to try this build. I could make a video guide on how to do it. But it's like you said, I came into it backwards of, I know how to do all this stuff and trying
Mm-hmm.
to, just grind away at it. And now realizing, okay, well, just pace myself, don't burn out, maybe make a video here or there. Like I've had some hits with the Star Wars Squadrons when I did that a
Mm-hmm.
little bit, but I mean, it's knowing when to pick your battles. You can make as many videos and grind as much as you want, but you're fighting the algorithm. And I don't mean
Right.
just you. In general, our world is now run by algorithms. It's going to take people wanting. You need that mighty band. Run with a mighty band. My
Mm-hmm.
darps are my mighty band, and you can't force it either. Sure, I would love to see 100,000 followers or whatever tomorrow, but that's unrealistic expectation.
Mm-hmm.
It's it's a relay race, not sorry, it's a marathon, not a relay race.
Mm-hmm.
Or so, like, pace yourself. Otherwise, you're going to be, why are you sprinting all the time? Just jog. It's okay.
Mm-hmm.
So, yes, it's a competition. Your fellow streamers, are competition, but be tactful. Be polite. If I've done competitive work in other fields like lumber or paving,
Mhm.
we don't walk over and pour gasoline in the fucking paver. Like, you don't do that. And you wouldn't do that in Twitch. You wouldn't just pop into somebody's stream and be like, "Wow, poi boy, why are you such a cunt?" Like, it's rude. And yet you see this happening in Twitter and Twitch, and people are like, "Ah, we're gonna cancel culture this guy." Don't get involved in that.
Mhm.
Pay attention to the people that are, paying attention to you. You give me time and attention and respect, I give you time and attention and
Mhm.
respect. I mean, it's part of our community, the golden rule. It's something that I think that's not just streaming wise, but, well, the world as a whole has forgotten. If you
Mhm.
want to be treated with respect, treat respect, you dumb shit. Like, it's
Right.
not that hard. And that's kind of just where I think people need to be going at this point when it comes to content creation and that. Like, don't force it, because a lot of this is also luck. I've been
Mhm.
doing this for 10 years. Like, it's technically streaming with like the last 3. I've watched my peers and some of my best friends literally shoot ahead, like, from, "Oh, I just started streaming 5," and next thing you know, Warframe partner. Wait, what? 15,000. Okay, you know what? Slow golf clap. Good job. And yet, same thing, same person has now burned out, gone down to 2 streams a week, and is focusing on their personal career, because they
Mhm.
find that their career, and they do something again. And this is a friend of mine. I'm happy to know him. He's more happy with his career than he is the Twitch.
Mhm.
So he chooses to only do the part-time streaming now. So it's different for everyone. And it's very, 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 and this is something I still struggle with. It's very dangerous to compare yourself to others, especially like the smaller streamers, or anyone else starting out. It's like, "Oh, I only have 2 viewers." I'm like, "Bro, I stream for like two viewers for years."
Right.
Like, half of this is luck. You can have your proper overlays, your good audio setup. You can be doing every single thing right and still be streaming to 0 viewers.
Mhm.
And then next thing you know, maybe you get a raid. Maybe some random dude brings 50 people your way, and 3 of those people stay. And those 3 people, next stream, you've got 2 people showing up. But
Mhm.
then another person comes in randomly because they were just browsing the directory. And it's this slow growth of, well, I mean, patience. It's slow and steady. Some of these big people, and a lot of people, I try to tell people, if I talk to them in private, it's like, "Oh, how come I'm not like Ninja?" Or I'm like, or Shroud. I'm like, "Okay, well, first of all, stop."
Mhm.
Shroud literally had a history in competitive esports
Mhm.
before he started streaming, so that he already had a following of people who knew who he was, what he was able to do. Ninja, same way. He was just some dude playing Fortnite. He had his niche. He had his mighty band, and only exploded because the games industry said, "Well, we better start sucking Fortnite's dick." So, and I mean, he was just at the, so it's time and a place. It's like, there's luck, and then there's what you can do. Do the best you can, put in the best effort, and the other half will come. And if it
Mhm.
doesn't, just do it because you want to do it, not because you're trying to become rich and famous.
Mhm.
I know actually one of the local, I don't mind mentioning him by name, Mtashed. Do you know who he is?
I've heard of his name, but
Yeah,
not.
he's done Destiny content. I think he's
Yeah.
actually streaming Outriders right now. A lot of Destiny content in the past.
Mhm.
I live right beside him back in Spruce Grove.
Oh
He
wow.
lived right near the Tri-Leisure Recreational Center in a very fancy little area. I think he still does. But case in point is, like, he did oil field work before that. He was a rig guy. And same thing, just applied himself, did what he needed to do, put out his videos, did it was a passion product. Now he has a business. You know,
Mhm.
he struck iron with destiny, and it worked out for him. I don't know what my iron will be, but I'm not trying to forecast it with a magic ball or something, or looking for it. Just do the best you can, put in the maximum effort, and the rest will come.
Mhm. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I mean,
Kind of went off on
you.
a tangent there,
No,
sorry,
no,
but
no. That's okay. I mean, you said this is a really important point. You said that 2 years you only had a few people in your stream consistently. That was it. And sometimes,
well,
yeah,
and all I got was a Warframe raid, a
and
big
that's
one, and that started it.
mm-hmm. And the best part about that time is that you could reframe what you were thinking about with the stream, with your name, with goals and metrics all aside, but like kind of like how you wanted to orient this business model. And it really kind of bended towards what you wanted to do, not what everybody else does, not what, Shroud or Summit or Dr. Disrespect, all those guys. You
Big.
orient,
I
yeah,
will interrupt here. Don't copy other people. I try
exactly.
other people, and like I said, I hate interrupting here, but it's so
Sure.
important to remember that because it's nobody want like I mean it's easy to copy because you want the fame, but when you have to put yourself in the shoes of a viewer, like I hate watching streams. I'm gonna be down. I can't stand watching streams. I do now. I couldn't
Mm,
do it back then, but I had to start specifically looking for streams that I wanted to watch. So, as
mm,
an example, I do not like lots of visual elements. And this is not a just a critique of yours, but I like to see more of the game scene, more of the face, less fancy graphics. Usually when I'm looking for a stream, I want to see the gameplay. I
mm,
want to see elements. I want to see as much as I can. I don't care about your sparkly dragon or the things hopping around on the screen. If I see that, I'm usually gone.
mm,
But that's the thing is once I started realizing, oh wait, I like looking for these certain things in streams. Other people have their own preferences too. They're not going to be looking for Shroud. They're not going to be looking for Summit. They're going to be looking for something different. And lo and behold, some of those viewers have told me, yeah, no, you did this and this and this, and that's why I like you compared to this and this and this. So
mm,
cater to, and if that's what's working for you, roll with it. I try to be just very down to earth. Yes, I have an dragon avatar now, and eventually I want to have real life cameras side by side. But
mm,
um, I always tried to be a person. In fact, my biggest inspiration within the last few years was ironically a radio station I listen to every day going to work. They respond to every text. I actually I was curious one day. I just called and immediately I was like, oh hey, I could hear myself on the radio, quickly muted so there wasn't feedback. Yeah, hi, just shit, they actually answered. But anyways, yeah, kind of chiming into the conversation. Very interactive radio station. I'm thinking, okay, well, yeah, sure, I don't have aimbot skills, but at least if Lashoran or Zan pops into chat and they ask a question, I can respond to them.
mm,
Because when I look at like the Twitch page or my chat log, I try to think, okay, well, there's a name attached to Poi Boy, there's a name attached to viewer, there is a human being attached to that name, and I
mm,
find a lot of people get stuck up in the metrics of Twitch of like, I've got to get that partner push, I've got to get that 75. Okay, well, what are those 75 of?
mm,
Computers, cats, or human beings? Bro, you're trying to attain 75 consistent people watching you. I want you to pretend you're a stand up comic right now.
mm,
Congratulations, you're on stage, and count every head that is possibly watching you during that. You could either have a small gathering or you could be at the stadium and you've got an entire crowd watching you. You've got the entire stadium's worth of attention. I worked security for a while. You want to know what's terrifying? Being on a stage doing security work for famous. Well, I actually did cover for Rihanna, and seeing all those eyes look at you.
mm,
Do you have stage fright? Because that's what Twitch is to me.
mm,
Treat those numbers as people, and you will be much more personable with them than if they're just, oh, cool, somebody came in with a two-person raid. Wow, fuck you. And I've seen that happen, and it's like, well, I'm never watching that person again because they
mm,
view it as a number, not this streamer who's trying to make his way decided to bring his two people. Worked really hard to get their attention to your stream, and you're like, wow, that's not a lot of people. That's why I
mm.
never express numbers. When if somebody raids me, I don't care. They get the same reaction. It's like, bro, you decided to come hang out in the DARP stream. Good to have you here. Don't care if it's 1,000. And that's the thing. That's the thing. I've had a 2,500 person raid from Warframe,
Mm,
and I've had one person raids. The people that stay around are your reward, not the number. Your impression is what makes the difference.
mm,
So, I mean, hell, the fact that you even decided to reach out to me means I did something right to you. You're like, wow, Saban's not a complete asshole, so let's talk to him. So there you go. Be a human being. Treat others with respect.
it's always fun to learn about people even before you even do the interview. when you invite them on, and again, like there's no like requirement for this. I mean, if you're an experienced streamer, I want to talk to you. Like I want to get to know you. I'm not afraid of anybody who gets on this. But like when in that process, they're like, they'll wait off. They'll want to look at the questions for a week or so, and then they'll get back to you. Or those who's like, yeah, absolutely, let's do it. Let's do it like as soon as possible. Like you really get to know like about what maybe their intentions, sure, but like you learn a lot about like their character and like their personality and like how they really want to express themselves, and if it's easy or if it's not easy, if they feel comfortable with even the topics of social media, gaming, and mental health, and dot 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 mental health. So they get that they get that impression at first, but it's really those who understand how important it is and understand, okay, well, I've had experiences with this, such as yourself, that are the people that are really the ones that are more driven about it. um, so it really goes into that authenticity of what you were talking about for those smaller streamers that are really just being themselves, not trying to be flashy, not trying to be anything but the true self that they portray online. They're really just trying to game and have people to game with. A lot of these streamers don't have these intentions of being famous. If it happens, sure, great, awesome. Like we went viral because of one video. But you know what? At least like I made friends along the way. I made this new family that I consider like this is a part of Dark Nation. This is part of the tribe. This is something special that I can reflect on and say this is something I've created that people are really benefiting off of. Not just to benefit off of to come in and to troll and do their thing. No, they're coming in here because they find some sort of joy out of their day to stop by and give the privilege of their time to be here with. So, I think you reflected on a lot of good points there. And I
I
just
do
wanted
my
to,
best.
yeah, and I definitely wanted to reiterate that because that's really important to your drive and your business model. So, how now that you've started to stream and you've started to have your the regulars come in, and say you're having stress at the lumber yard and whatnot, tell me a little bit about how you mediate that stress and anxiety and depression
Oh, I just
nowadays.
I, I just talk to them.
You just
I,
talk.
I use my streams as, like I said, I try to be as personable as I can on my streams when I hit that go live button. It's very easy to look to people who are big, like, and you addressed one of them, Doctor Disrespect,
Mm-hmm.
who are personas. They are a actual persona. That is
Mm-hmm.
the act. That is when they are streaming, they are in character.
Mm-hmm.
That is who they portray to be, and that's why sometimes they grow as successful as they do. I never wanted to be that. When I hit I try to be as close as I am to what you're seeing now and a human being as what I am on stream, even if there is a dragon avatar, right? Obviously. So it's more just I am trying to be empathetic rather than sympathetic
Mm-hmm.
to the people around me. It's very easy to have a stream viewer come in and be like, oh man, sorry, it sucks to, or sorry, oh, it sucks that you're feeling bad, man. Don't worry, we're all full of positivity here. We'll make you feel good too. Boy, I heard you had a shitty day, man. Okay. Oh shit, you went through that. You know what? I have been there. That sucks. I'm here for you. Empathy versus sympathy is something that I see continuing to plague social media on a day-to-day basis. It's very easy to put on that act and be that positivity streamer or the good vibe streamer. But the moment anything, any stink enters those streams, oh, we better put, ban or get
Right.
rid of, it's a bubble community, and it's a bubble. That's what it is. Compared to just, I want my viewers to not just feel like viewers, that they're part of the family. That we'll try to help them as best we can. Shit happens, and it's okay to admit that sometimes we're not feeling okay, like we've addressed earlier, or that shit stinks,
Mm-hmm.
because you can't always be 100% positivity all the time. It is more important to address the fire in the room than just nah, 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 not happening. It's all good here. I'm playing Fortnite. No, la, la, la. It's a nothing's. People want to be relatable. They want to be like, shit. Maybe this guy understands how I feel. They want to feel treated like with respect and
Absolutely.
encouragement, like you brought up earlier. So that's what I try to do is stay away from the act, just be as personable as I can. And obviously there's times where I might be focus face in the game, but I mean, I've had community members come in and I won't address by name and they're going through a tough time. Okay, they're actually going through a tough time. Let's get them some help here. Like
Hmm.
it's better to like I said, I'm kind of repeating myself. It's better to treat people as human beings, give them the support and love that they need, than fake it.
Hmm.
I don't know if I could fake it. And I mean, hypothetically, I've thought about this in the past and even continuously. Is like, what happens if I blow up? What happens if I'm not able to maintain that interaction, that close knit that I have now when there's like 1,000 viewers and I can't keep up with everyone?
Hmm.
I'm still gonna do my best. I've seen bigger streamers like that who, well, they only respond to the subscribers, or I don't know what I'll do, and I'll have to, figure that out when I cross that bridge. But I right now can't see myself changing anything that I wouldn't already be doing now.
Hmm.
It doesn't matter if there's 1,000 people or 19 people. It's like, well, you know what? I'm one person. I can do the best I can, and I can try to make as many people smile and happy as I can as possible. You know,
What do you think about the idea that that streaming or a stream channel is actually coincidentally kind of like group therapy? What do you think about that?
you're talking about like mental health coaches and stuff, right?
Yeah, yeah, but for the most part, like just that similar idea in culture.
On one hand, I am abhorrently opposed to it,
Mm-hmm.
and I'll touch on that in a second. On the other, I can understand why it's a thing now, because it was for me. And it still is. I find my online connections therapy and therapeutic and cathartic in a way.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, at the same time, being that I mentioned earlier, I did try
Mm-hmm.
100%. The bottle was down, and I made the attempt, and it didn't work. Um, I've know full well, based on that experience, what kind, and I eventually did get help and everything,
Mm-hmm.
what kind of actual professional help is required. And the thing that bugs me is seeing people who I won't name profess themselves as stream mental health coaches and that all everything. And I check them. I will go freaky sometimes and find out who they are, whatever. They've got no certification,
Mm-hmm.
no doctor, no actual professional credentials, giving out sometimes really bad advice,
Mm-hmm.
that if I had heard, I'd be like, oh shit, okay, where's my buckshot? Like it's I hate to get morbid there, but like, you are not a professional and you are giving this kind of advice to somebody, like, especially when it comes to suicide and like that area of mental health.
Yeah.
This isn't walking on eggshells. This is walking on landmines. Like, we're
Mm-hmm.
we're in territory here. Like, why is this person live right now? Twitch, please fucking ban them. But I mean, other people have fed their cats alcohol, so that's I could go off on a tangent about that there. But like,
Yeah.
Twitch has questionable practices when I find it comes to that. So
Yeah.
sure, having suicide links and phone numbers are great, but I'm on the fence because, like I said, I'd feel like a hypocrite if I said it. It shouldn't be allowed, because I
Mm-hmm.
mean, it's helped me and others out there. If I can't help someone, maybe they find a streamer that does help them. But on the other hand, it's the ones I find that go full tilt to I'm a professional.
Mm-hmm.
Checks history, MySpace, LinkedIn, everything else. No, you are a cook at Home Depot, or wood. You work at Home Depot. Like
Mm-hmm.
you there. I don't see any sort of credentials that per, qualify you for what you're saying you can do.
Mm-hmm.
So
Absolutely.
that triggers me a lot.
Mm-hmm. So there's definitely a limit
Especially
to,
as somebody that
yeah.
tried. So it's like you're giving bad advice here. Okay, I
It
have to not talk in those streams.
Yeah, no, and I'm sure like this is kind of like the reason you were saying that you didn't like going to see other streams because sometimes that culture just doesn't match up with you. You know,
Positivity culture just pisses
yeah,
me off. Like,
yeah.
and that's prevalent in the furry fandom, and it's something I've actually talked about to some of my viewers. And I've had my off days, being like, "Wow, how come I didn't do so well this day?" or whatever.
Mm,
Meanwhile, insert furry streamer here at hundreds of views, same game. So it's literally everything playing worse, whatever. And I'm like, well, they're giggling all the time, so I get it. But it's like, okay, that's frustrating. But it comes down to just yeah, like you said, is you're going to find that streamer that works for you, and you have
mm,
to accept that sometimes you're not that streamer that people want to watch,
mm-hmm.
and that is okay. It's not a bad thing. It took me a long time to accept that. Well, I'm not cutesy. I know why I'm lower on the furry directory because I swear I love my guns. I'm pretty much, if we're bringing politics, and I'll keep it light, I'm not on that spectrum.
Sure.
I,
Mm-hmm.
I I am much more open. Okay, like I don't hold my punches. I say what I mean and I do what I say. So that when and I find in the furry community, it's we're all loving. We got to hug.
Mm,
You got to keep the good PAW positivity
mm.
vibes. And I'm like, fuck, man, shit sucks. Let's talk about it. Like, why are we ignoring the problem here? There's a grenade in the corner of the room. Deal with
Uh,
it.
and it,
Positivity is not going to prevent that thing from exploding. Like
somebody's gonna have to jump on that grenade, man.
I'll do it. Let's go.
Oh man, but like this is why, streams such as ours are so important because we provide that outlet for people who just want to talk about problems and not necessarily problems with no means, but a problem that can be reframed and can be talked about and that can be, build on rather than just kind of uh, you know, just kind of sinking in and not able to express that.
Fitting in, be a wallflower where I'm part of
Yeah.
the community. No.
There's plenty of streams that could that and even like streams with thousands of people that just say, oh, you're beautiful, like you're doing everything you can, like you're doing all this and that. It's like, well, okay, sure, I'm sure, but
See,
what?
meanwhile, I'm there with a shovel. I'm like, are you really okay? Are
Yeah.
you? How else can I help you? Oh, you're feeling bad. All right, I'm gonna get to the root of the problem.
It's more like taking it and then putting it back in the hole. Keep going. So like, but it's just how social media is, right? Like, there's so many different types of cultures and populations that interact with each other that it just seems like it just a like multiple highways just intersecting with each other, and you have to find the right exit. You have to have a GPS and know where to go. Like when
The
you
internet
build
is
up,
a true melting pot. Like
right?
it is the ultimate melting pot. You have all cultures, like you said, and every people in every nation interacting with each other, every age group.
Mm-hmm.
So it's it's scary.
Yeah, and at least that in your stream, that's where they can feel safe because they know they're gonna have.
Actual safe space, and I don't have to
Yes,
say it.
right. Because they're gonna get this information, they're gonna know that it's reality, and that you're gonna keep things the same way every time. It's consistent. So it's very interesting to touch on that subject of culture within stream because you know, as we talked about with the streamer who gets burnt out, he probably wasn't consistent with that culture, so he lost a lot of the people that OG'd that were originally there for a certain thing, and they didn't get that over time. But that this is the culture of my stream, and if you like it, great. If you don't, great. But we're here. We're here every day for you, and that's what we want to provide.
Monday's off, so
So, weekends off, but all right. So let's talk about the future, right? And this is the last section of our interview. So, what in the next year? What are the things that you're aspiring to have? And I know you mentioned being a partner, right? But is there something you might be adding towards the stream that might be
several actually, and this
okay?
is something I tell a lot of streamers. The part, okay, so the line between affiliate and partner is so goddamn slim nowadays.
Mm-hmm.
Um, that partnership in my eyes, because I remember when Twitch was just in TV
Mm-hmm.
before it was a thing. So seeing the transformation of what the partner program and everything has, like for me, it means very little because I know that I could pursue charitable work or sponsorships or other stuff that doesn't really pertain to partnership, but
Mm-hmm.
aligning with what I want to do as a content creator. It just so happens that, for example, I have actually reached out to large sponsors who, hey, well, I mean, do you want to see something gross? Can I show something gross? It's safe for it. Don't worry for Twitch.
All right,
So
go ahead.
I've had this Logitech keyboard for a long time, and I don't know if you can see the grossness on
Oh, I
there.
can see the spots. Yeah, for
This
sure.
is almost a 10-year-old G710. And she, knock on wood, has been trucking really hard.
Oh my
And
gosh.
I may have reached out to Logitech a long time ago. I know their partnership has changed, but back then, I think it was like, yeah, you're not a partner, you don't have enough metrics,
Mm-hmm.
we're not interested in working with you. But now it's like, well, I have guns. What if I
Hmm.
shot this keyboard and they sent me? I don't know if they'd like me, putting to death my old gross keyboard here. But the point being is that like now that the streaming has picked up, I'd like to get the partnership because there are the traditional white collar sponsors that, well, we expect a purple check mark and an average concurrent viewership of at least 150 viewers and 50,000. It's almost like a job application where I'm looking through
Right.
the sponsorship requirements of like, next thing you know, it's like needs master's degree in theoretical physics, right? 6 Academy Award winning screenplays, cured cancer. Like it feels like back when I was trying to get a job as a kid. I'm like,
Right.
this is like any job application now. It doesn't matter if you're a partner or not. They just want to know that you fit the check marks that they can tick off. So the
Mm-hmm.
check mark never really meant anything to me, but now it's just like, okay, we'll get it for the boomers.
Mm-hmm.
After that, fuck off. I don't get with respect to the sponsor. Like, I mean, I have done charitable work and or sponsored work. BioWare was part of our Make a Wish charity last year.
Mm.
Yeah, damn right. I will pull stops and do what you guys say because you gave us, $5,000. So there you
Yeah.
go.
Right.
Uh, so we'll put in a good word for you, so to speak. Bio. I mean, I think in our Minecraft server, the Darps built like the BioWare logo and everything. Mila, one of my
Oh wow.
moderators, it we went out of our way to, well, okay, they're handing over a lot of money, let's do our part. But goal wise, I mean, obviously before I'm 30, I'd like to see if I can hit partnership, get the
Mm.
check mark done, and then my road doesn't stop there. And I tell a lot of people do this. Partnership isn't your end goal. If you want to do career streaming, diverse, you go into different sponsors. Like my
Mm-hmm.
goals are higher than just G Fuel. I don't want to just snort G Fuel and pitch it to my viewers.
Right.
I'd like to work with Intel. I'd like to work with other bigger companies. I want to found a charitable work organization up here in Canada. Extra Life, St. Jude, there's all this cool stuff in the States, and yet in Canada here, we're all diddly daddling around, not doing action. Like there's very little in the way of like what St. Jude and the bigger events like for charity work happens down in the States up here in
Mm-hmm.
Canada. Like I mean, some of these charity companies, and I remember pitching to them, still accept mail. Like I'm like, you guys need you're bleeding, like literally bleeding for funds right now, and yet
Yeah.
you're expecting people to mail in donations. Have you heard of Tiltify? Like we could, if Wild Abandon, the furry team I'm with, just raised $76,000 for Starlight Children's Foundation. Like just gaming. Like, come on, boomers. Like my goal would be, 5, 10 years down the line, seeing that same thing happen up here in Canada for Make a Wish, for the
Mm.
Stollery, for we've had a lot of cancer in my family. Make a Wish, and you can Google her really quickly here on your phone if you want.
Mm.
Mabel or Spider Mabel.
Spider
Try
Mabel.
Spider Mabel Edmonton. She was 2 years old when she was diagnosed with leukemia, one of the worst kinds, but also one of the most easily treatable. And her make a wish was she wanted to be Spider Man. So they turned her into Spider Mabel. She was web slinging around Edmonton, and she is basically a spokesperson now for Make a Wish on like a success story. I don't see that, and but that's the thing. It was one of those crowd hive mentalities of let's get save this kid, and yet I'm
Mm-hmm.
thinking, okay, well, why don't we have more of this happening in Canada? I always hear about St. Jude. I always hear about that. So 5 years, 10 years down the line, Derg charity or something. I haven't come up with a name yet, but
Mm-hmm.
some sort of let's focus on gamers and streamers focusing on helping Canadians up here in Canada,
Mm-hmm.
and eventually turning it into I would now shoot for the co-carnage numbers or something, but down the line. I'm not trying to get it now. Just let's just turn it into a career, just not because I can be rich and famous, but because I did.
Mm-hmm.
Because I've had so many people in the past tell me this won't work out, you're a failure, you're never going to do it. But you know what, I feel pretty good knowing I tried. So whether I fail or whether I succeed, I can tell people with a straight face saying I at least pursued my dreams. Did you? Because I've watched my dad, I've watched many other of my friends and family be pissed off and unhappy with what they're doing, just doing the 9 to 5, get paycheck to paycheck, and
Mm-hmm.
unhappy. I'm happy. Are they?
It's one thing to, you know, to work for that success, right? And to do what you love to do. And it's another thing to be born into success and like having something being put onto you. And I say that because you feel like you can always when you work for that success, you're more willing to share it with others, and you're more willing to give just as much as you can. I mean, aside from kind of having your own household in check, but giving it a piece to those who don't who aren't we're a little bit less fortunate. So I was just gonna say that you know when you were growing up and you were trying to kind of find your niche, you really didn't you were worried about what you wanted to do, but you also knew you wanted to be happy and satisfied in what you did. But that also made you also want to share it with others. And this is kind of like another example to why you might want to push
Both
for charity.
sides of my family have struggled with alcoholism. One of them died to it, my mom.
Mm,
So, yes, watching unhappiness versus happiness, yes, that's why I pursue the happiness. It
mm.
doesn't matter if you're not making a lot of money. Let's not drink ourselves to death.
Yes.
There we go. Just to push that point in there.
Mm.
Sorry.
No, that's okay. And you know what? Next month is May and it's Mental Health Awareness Month. So, we're going to be doing a lot of stuff on stream to just kind of like let people be aware of like kind of what's going on, and we're gonna pick a charity and whatnot. But the whole point is that this is kind of like the month where as a counselor, I could be creative and I can allow people to see, you know, the the people that are struggling and may not have physical symptoms or do, but it's also a way for those who are struggling to speak out and be free with what they're dealing with, and how they've been able to work with it, but also how they're not working with it and how they're struggling with it. So I think we bring up a good point of charity and being able to give out at these moments, but not even just these moments, not for just 1 month, but being consistent and being consistent, not even just 1 month, but 2 months, 3 months, the whole year. Having that vibe in our chat makes it able to for people to kind of learn from, you know, the struggles rather than, um, just kind of have a have like an open ear, and it goes out one it goes in one ear and out the other. Even for people like us who have ADHD and ADD, we retain a lot of information that really seeps into us, that really just
Oh, yeah, but
reaches
one
out
second, let me
to
just
us.
answer this text.
Sure.
No, like as an ADD.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
That's what I was.
You say something, I stop what I'm saying. Like, go ahead, go ahead.
But you get what I mean.
Yeah, I
Everything's
get exactly what you're saying.
all over the place.
So, is there anything coming up that might impact your stream schedule? I know you said that for the lumber mill, like you said that you might
I'm
be.
actually trying to make my exit. So I'm kind of at this point, like I have a safety net and stuff planned here, but this is more of a Hail Mary at this point. I'm
Mm,
thinking now that we've got the momentum, things are working out better, and I can actually sustain myself with
mm,
what my community is doing. Now maybe we do this full time, and with that full time, not just streaming all the time, but now pursue some sponsors that I could make commitments to, because beforehand, I was looking at them, I'm like, well, I wouldn't fit the bill for what they want, the X amount of hours or stuff here.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, potentially no. There is always the possibility I might have to go back to full time work, but I'm trusting my community and the momentum that we have right now to try to make the jump and make it work.
Mm-hmm. And so that trust, how strong would you say that bond is between you and
I
your?
don't know. They just bought me a $1,200 worth of PC components right here because I was having problems. So I'd say it's pretty high right now. So
And that's great. And like, I mean, sure, it's great to have somebody buy something, but
it made me cry. So
yeah.
yeah, bro.
And you know what? Like, I
And like
think that
safety net is an important thing. There's
yeah.
the okay, well, if this doesn't work out, what do we do? That's
Mm-hmm.
another important factor. Is you can't just go for it, which I see a lot of people do. I've been working years to try to get to this point.
Mm-hmm.
And yet I see the people are like, well, I'm gonna go full time streaming and quit my job at McDonald's. 2 weeks later, well, I gotta stop doing the full time. It takes work, and I mean, even then, like any business venture, there's a point where you just have to say, okay, let's go for it.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, I've already talked to my bank. I've been talking to financial advisors, like let's get my private business. Because again, and if you, by the way, to anybody ever watching this record, I don't know if you're putting this on YouTube.
Oh yeah, I am for
Pay your
sure.
taxes for crying out loud. How many streamers I see get caught with that? File your taxes, have your stream listed as a sole proprietor or business, whatever. Make sure your PayPal is a business PayPal. Like, cover your ass, because the IRS, CRA, whatever you're dealing with in your respective country of choice is going to find you, and they will audit you. And trust me, I watched my father, a medical professional, get audited every few years because of the money. And there's a point where you make so much money, the CRA just says, he's an easy target, audit him. And I would watch him come up, and this is from a young age, understanding how important running a business was. Every receipt he had ever, like, if we went out and he bought me a pop, it was in that box, because they would audit everything. Taxes, they'll get you, just like Al Capone.
It's
So
very it's very appropriate because it is tax season, and the but deadline might have been.
I got mine done. I was like, no, I'm getting this done now.
Yep.
I'm done.
Mm, that's right. Get it done, baby. And
Pay a professional. Don't just use TurboTax. Pay a
mhm.
professional. Suck it up. Pay the 100, $200, and have peace of mind knowing that they covered everything. Because she's phoned me and be like, "Hey, where's your? Oh, one sec. Pull it out. Send it off. It's not a $10,000 fine."
And that's a I would say that's a great tip for novice streamers is to have a paper trail and have a paper trail relating
Or if
to
failing that digital trail. I mean, I can just go to bank, print statements, send to the government. Do your CYA, cover your ass, have that trail. Yeah. Sorry.
um no, that's good. No, that's exactly what our next question is. We're talking about so our first so why don't we finish this and then we'll get into the last question. So for advice for new gamers, kids that are just starting to get into video games who are just trying to understand what is their niche. What would
Specifically kids.
Yeah, well, I mean, like kids are now the true targets for video games nowadays.
Do
Like,
your homework. Don't end up like me.
mm,
Uh, don't get addicted. Develop a schedule, and at the same time, don't force yourself to do something or be something you're not. The biggest thing, like I said, I tried chasing the trends back then, and it's only what I am doing now where I was happy. Find out what you are happy with and pursue that happiness, and then figure out, can you capitalize and profit off that happiness?
mm,
Profit will come later. The money that you will make is cool, but try to find what you will be able to do for the rest of your life without burning out, because I can see myself doing this year in, year out, because I enjoy doing it. It's something I'm passionate about. It doesn't just have to be streaming. And if it is
Mhm.
streaming, it doesn't just have to be gaming. I follow streamers who are blacksmiths.
Mhm.
Follow streamers who are gunsmiths. I follow streamers who literally will ASMR. I don't like it, but I mean they've got a cool setup, or I like something here. It doesn't have to be gaming. Gaming is the big one right now, and I tell a lot of people when they're starting out on Twitch, what are you passionate about? One of my roommates, Tyler, wants to be a mechanic, and I'm like, well, he should stream that eventually. Maybe if we gets a garage, set up some cameras. So today we're working on an RX-7. People will watch that.
Mhm.
Maybe not a lot, but that's a niche community. Building off niche communities is a hell of a lot easier than picking Fortnite and just getting lost in the ocean. The only reason I was able to take off is because Elite Dangerous, Warframe, smaller games that have more niche mindsets and not just Fort. So it's don't chase the trends. It's by the time, and this is something that I can branch off of because I do metal and stocks. There's a saying with stocks, by the time it's reached media, like the news, it's already too late. So
Mhm.
GameStop, for example, by the way, nothing here is financial advice. I eat crayons. Thank you. Um, GameStop, I was telling people, and I do have some in GameStop, you're already too late. You wanted to get in when this was like $5, $20 at most. You're done. Sit
Mhm.
down. You're not buying $300 a stock. But the point
Yes.
remains is that by the time you've heard about it, so in this case, Fortnite, it's already too late.
Yeah.
Find something else. Yes, it sucks. You won't be getting the tens of thousands of viewers, but
Mhm.
I was pretty happy getting 10 or 20 in Warframe.
Mhm.
So
Absolutely. Yeah, and stocks is uh, it's a very unique trade. I mean, even this what is it, the stock guy or whoever does the stock stuff, for he always says, listen, don't ever just base it on chance. Know the know the market.
due diligence, DD. That,
Yes.
that's what you're. Yeah.
Yeah. Know it, but because if you're gonna invest money into it, then that's a whole nother branch. It's like putting money in a house when you're gonna move, but you're there because of maybe the prices will skyrocket because it's a
So
good
all the same thing can be
all
said
the
of video
same.
games. Fortnite is now, if you listen to like it's big, it's really big.
Mm,
But the main I've watched the sentiment, oh now it's dying. And
mm,
people are jumping to, dying, quote, I'm doing the air quote thing. But the gaming media is always moving. So try to stay a little bit ahead of it. Like I mean, I love my shooters. I love my space games. So looter shooters. I mean, Outriders, sure, it was a big
mm,
main release, but I was more interested in saying, okay, well, I'm doing my research, and if I'm looking at this like a stock, the fundamentals are there. They've got some good crafting. They've got some decent end game. It's not Anthem. It's also not Anthem, but they built on a good game. Finally played it. Oh, it's a good game, and I'm getting good viewership. Sure, works out. So it doesn't have to be, the next big hit. Find something that works for you and roll with it if it's going to be games. And if you like building cabinetry, build cabinetry.
mm. The people that still, I know you used to play Squadrons, uh, and the game has kind of lost a lot of their base viewership, but the people
Cover that.
that
Yeah.
yeah, but the people that stay are those who really not only just love the game, but they love the people. They love the
Mhm.
culture, and they stick around. Yes, to be considered their own competitive league, sure, for the competitive atmosphere, but they really respect each other. They love bouncing around each other's streams, and like it's just that culture. I'm sure you get that on Elite Dangerous as well.
Yep.
It's
The
amazing.
only the only reason I jump from squads to elite is I tend to have a lot more casual viewers in my streams than specifically like Scalp Weka, who can spin around in an A-wing or a type whatever the hell he wants to fly. So it also comes down to knowing your community. I
Mhm.
would still love to play Star Wars Squadrons, but I also talked to my community and they said, well, you know what? You kind of become an asshole when you play Star Wars Squadrons, and it's also hard for us to compete at your level. And I mean, I'm not Scalp, but I
Mhm.
like to think I'm better than most. I have killed Scalp. I have fought, some of the top Squadrons people, and they're really good, but I can
Mhm.
get them.
Mm-hmm.
and not all of my community can. So it's like trying to drag somebody a baton race. It's like, come on, you can do it, you can do it. And I
Mm-hmm.
had to sit back and realize, okay, not all of my community is a sweat lord like I am.
Mm-hmm.
I love flying my B wing. I love going nuts in Star Wars, but let's tone it back a bit. Oh shit, Elite caters to all manner of people.
Mm-hmm.
That was my complaint, and still is with Squadrons. They need a little bit more of a casual entry bar, not just welcome to the game competitive,
Mm-hmm.
because that's all I found. Is like there's no middle ground. Like it's like you are food for competitive players, or you are competitive players. So
Mm-hmm.
Elite, on the other hand, I mean, there are tournaments. People host tournaments, but there's also the Anti-Xeno Initiative. There's the Fuel Rats. There's so many different things, like an Eve, where you don't just have to kill people in Elite. I like killing people, but but I mean, my other viewers don't have to just go down the sweat route of Saban Pat. They can space truck. They can do this. So knowing your community is also a big thing there. Like, and that's another important thing to cover. Yes, there's those people that stay, but know when you don't have to cut ties. Like I still have squadrons installed, but know when you need to change things up a bit and accept that you have to change.
Mm-hmm.
Because it was hard for me to jump away from squadrons because I'm like, I love Star Wars. I say this as there's a B Wing, a TIE Defender, and a few other things on my desk here.
Right.
But at the same time, just because I love something doesn't necessarily translate to community's enjoyment of something. And that's a very important thing because you are a community leader at that point.
Mm-hmm.
And it's okay to try those different games. It's okay to, branch off. Definitely do variety. Don't typecast yourself or get stuck in a directory. I've watched Warframe streamers who only did Warframe their entire Warframe stream career. Again, I can probably scroll through the list, getting 21 viewers compared to 2100.
Mm-hmm.
Warframe is a very niche community, a perfect example of bubble, where they only want to see Warframe. So getting those other viewers and branching out and playing with variety every once in a while is a good thing. Don't be afraid to do that.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And I mean, sometimes it's just the mechanics. You get tired of the mechanics and you move on. I still play Squadrons, but I also play War Thunder, which is
Oh no. Oh no.
I know. Listen, it's there's a uniqueness to the game that like just it gets addictive for a little bit and
It's more the fact Gaishin's probably made several thousand off me, but uh yeah, no, I played War Thunder way too much.
it's just like it's the mechanics. It's the detail orientation of the game that makes it actually like
You're talking to a tier 10 World of Tanks guy who
oh
ground up
Jesus.
several trees, who found War Thunder and went, no health bars, all hit boxes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, buy War Thunder. And then, well, I mean, War Thunder kind of had the power creep coming. It's like, we started anting cold. Here's a Leopard M2. Wait, what? I kind of liked it when it was all historic, like the World War II, and it's kind of gone off the rails now for me.
Yeah.
But every now and
Yeah.
then I'm like, I should re-download War Thunder. And a week later, uninstalling that was a terrible idea. And then it's this loop. It's like every time, like even when I unfortunately broke up from my when we started the divorce, some of my community members, I don't know if actually Zan might know, but I think he had to go. Literally sitting there having my breakup ice cream. I should download War Thunder.
Yeah. Yo, I will
Always this loop of like, you know what? I quit this game and never coming back. Ooh, a shiny helicopter.
Dude, I will say the memes on War Thunder are astounding. I love them so much, dude, because it's like a root game that like everybody's played like to a certain extent. I feel like because it's been out for so long.
I went, oh no. I'm like, you play too.
Yeah. I just recently got into like flight sim get like squadrons got me really into it and then I just was like, you know what? Like all of my friends are playing War Thunder. We're just gonna play it and I just love it. I like with all times when we're on, we're playing it. But it's
Throwing it
just
out there, but there's always Elite Dangerous too, with the Odyssey coming out.
you trying to recruit me, huh?
I don't know. I'm just saying you'd probably be pretty good.
Maybe shit. What is it? $10 now?
The base game is 10 or 20 right now. It's on sale, but the expansion will be like 40 or something. So and that's the FPS component. So remember, you'll be
Mm.
able to get out your ship, shoot people. I did. It was great. But, some poor dude running into a corner here. Okay, good. There's that. He's probably confused, but it's
The,
that Eve mentality of food.
right, exactly. Must find resources.
People ask, "How can you gank?" I'm like, "How could you not? It's so defenseless. It needs to be put down." And like, send him back to the rebuy screen. It looks terrible. He shouldn't be out here. He's too dangerous for him. I'm doing him a favor, okay? Like,
There was me and my friends were talking about if you're shooting somebody, they're already going down. Do you keep shooting them? Half my friends are like, yes, absolutely. They had until they hit the ground, yes. Then
I
my
have
other half is like, let them
I have
go.
had encounters in Eve where we would do like pos ganks or gate camping or whatever we were doing. And I remember it's funny you brought that up. Sorry, just flash memory. It was this one dude. He jumped through the gate, came in, and we already knew something was up because it's like, okay, this is a hauler, but he's half dead. Like he was really fucked up. We're thinking, what the hell?
Hmm.
And immediately, my friend, like it was 5 seconds of wow, wait, we were ready to fight, but then we're realizing it's an NPC. Sorry, a harmless
Yeah.
trader. Like he's a player, but he's not. But big ship. Like I'm talking, like this is one of the Charons. Like actually have them up. Some of your elite or Eve viewers might recognize it. It's like a big,
Oh
you know,
yeah, those big
yeah,
boys.
to say a soapstone sculpture as a kid, but it's the big hauler. So we're thinking, whoa, what's going on? He's getting attacked. 5 seconds later, fleet ops like, quick, get him! And we're like, all right, let's go. Start shooting him. 15 seconds later, and we killed like he was a trawler, so even big as he was, like 30, 40 of us, he was dead. And he's like, what the fuck, guys? I was ready. Within 15 seconds, a fleet is jumping through it, and then we went from tasty loot, whatever, and we're all ready to
Yeah.
and all of a sudden we hear fleet comes go, stop looting, we're all like getting ready to fight. Like it was like you said though, it didn't matter that he was wounded. We're just like, well, he's already wounded. And 15, 30 seconds later, like this was a bad idea. We are so disorganized right now. It wasn't a win, but it wasn't a loss either. They got some of us, we got some of them. Nobody got any loot because we had to pull back. So in the end, it would have been better to just wait. But like you said, it's like if they're going down, well, I mean, may as well, what's that? It won't hurt, a few more. Yeah, sorry, just a good trail into what you said.
No, no, I love it. I love the response, man. No, honestly,
Oh, man.
but that's what you get when you play flight sim games. It's like you see that flying dude, the NPC. He's just going around. He's trying to play objective, just trying to
I
just
could
leave
grab
me
my
alone.
shot. I could grab my shotgun for you and do the shame. The damn shame. I love that gif. Damn shame.
Here comes the zero. Oh, great. Now I got to maneuver and freaking like try to get back to base with one wing. Great.
Well,
Uh,
I'll be quicker. I've told people never be afraid of the gankers because they're the ones who are probably going to teach you the most. And jumping into Elite Dangerous, having some high profile gankers jump into my stream, and not just that, but the Discord, like Rambo
mhm,
the 13th, who I've watched a lot, Punchbag Bob, Sir Ganks a lot, names
mm,
that might mean nothing to you, but as elite viewer player for a long time, I'm like, whoa, what's Sir Ganks-a-Lot doing here? Whoa, what's going on? Am I gonna get ganked? Like this, he's a really good like he knows how to fight. So having these people come and be like, oh yeah, I know your build's doing pretty good there. And once they realize, if even if you got killed by them, if they come into your stream and instead of being like, whoa, what the fuck, sir, Saybin, why'd you gank me?
mm,
I approach them the same way, I'd be like, bro, how do I be like you? Help. And that's all they need. They're not assholes. We're people who like to have fun. Like Dark Souls, I constantly ganked. Yet at
mhm.
the same time, be like, oh shit, there's a lot of white summon signs today, and I'm not getting any PvP. All right, some bro time. It's not like we're insane. We'll help you on one hand, and then we'll stab you with the others. So
Right.
you'll become a better player overall, learning every aspect of the game rather than just the one play style you want. So
Mhm.
be nice to everybody that comes into your stream. But anyways, I'll shut up. I'm rambling again.
No, no, it's good. No, you brought up a good point. If you want to be a better gamer, you find competition that's worthy of excelling into the next. Like we call it in wrestling a practice partner, somebody that's going to really excel, and somebody on your team that can help you
Yeah,
learn the
well, there you
game.
go. Wrestling. Listen, it doesn't mean you have to be the best, but he'll kick your ass and be like, "Well, you could be better here." And then
Yeah,
when you get mugged, you don't get mugged because you're able to do what he taught you or something. I had a viewer come in and he was getting upset with getting ganked. So what I did, I had one of my we were doing PvP ganking.
Mm,
I said, "Okay, dude, gank me." He's like, "What do you mean?" I'm like, "No, gank me as if you were trying to attack me." He's like, "Oh, okay." And I literally did a counter gank right in front of the viewer. I'm like, "Okay, so I'm going to submit to him. I'm going to turn around immediately, boost towards him. I'm also, as you can see here, I'm already charging my FSD, and I
mm,
keep boosting past him because now he's turning, trying to face me, and I've just jumped out. Do that once, you'll piss off somebody. Do that twice, they'll probably never change you again. If they chase you a third time, then they're just insane, and
yeah.
you might want to stay away from that person. But more often than not, that's an annoying. Like, as a ganker, you're like, well, shit, he knows how to get away, so find easier prey.
Hmm.
And lo and behold, a week later, he comes out like, Saban, I failed two ganks. I'm like, wait, what, two? And we're like, yeah, no, he tried to get me twice. I'm like, okay, so he had one of those, but you did it. You did the thing. And he's like, yeah, he only, he popped my shields, but he only got through like 4% of my hull. And I'm like, and you're a trader and you have a paper hull, so good job. See, you learned something. You learned something. That was
Speaking of
that.
speaking of learning something, our last question
Mm-hmm.
is, well, second to last question because we're gonna do like a social thing. But
Okay.
last question is, how might you better your self care and mindfulness and your mental health in the near future? What things might help you kind of expand your understanding?
What kind of context are we asking this in?
So
Because
so we're
I'm
talking about
confused about
like,
this. I read about
yeah,
it.
yeah, no, it's about like doing things, actions that might help, meditation like yoga, pilates, stuff like that, or if it's really just like self-reflection, which is more about like self-imagery, like, if I'm in this position, how might I kind of like help myself, or how might I kind of delegate my thoughts, whatever it is.
I've gotten better with this over time, and it literally
Mm-hmm.
just comes down to more application of what I'm already doing.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, like you said, self-reflection. I've gotten myself into binds. I reach out to my staff now. I'll just be like, "Hey, shit, I'm having a bad day." And in
Mm-hmm.
fact, even now, today, it was something at work, and I just kind of got into a bad mental health point.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Literally at 3:08 p.m., feeling bad again. Kit, stop it. Okay. I know that might not seem like much, but just having one of my staff members, and we've had a more in-depth conversation, but just having one of my staff members being there in the moment and learning that I'm allowed to just say to them in the instant that I'm not okay. I'm having something stupid at work, and something
Mm-hmm.
stupid happened today, but it was just a customer being a customer.
Mm-hmm.
So, uh, letting my just being more, I'm trying to encourage myself to just be more vocal. Even like a few days ago when they donated all that money for the PC stuff, like I didn't even want to put a goal out. I'm like, well, shit, my PC's, CPU's on its way out or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Fuck, stream's gonna explode. And one of my mods has already just put a stream donation goal. Okay, fine. Within 5 minutes, $500 raised. And she just literally after stream was like, so I'm gonna keep saying this, but when are you gonna accept that you have a community that loves you? Allow yourself to be vulnerable.
Mm-hmm.
So, like you said earlier, just keep continuing to admit that sometimes that there are people out there that want to help you, and it's not a bad thing. So,
And
keep.
I think that's really important because, like just being open to being open. Like it sounds kind of cheesy, but like it's such a process to like be able to ask for help. And like if I used to be the kid in school that didn't want any help because I just wanted to do everything on my own. I wanted to be able to do this because I know I can. But sometimes like there's one question that will separate me from trying to do it to doing it. And I think for you, figuring out what your routine is first, like whether it is self reflection or it is, some type of mindfulness that practice that you might find that might help. It's really just asking that one question of how am I going to get to that next step that's going to help you just kind of grow as a person. And I know that'll transpire towards being a streamer, but it's the same concept. So just kind of building off that idea of self reflection, it's really just one step away. It just takes practice. It takes time and practice to really just kind of get the nooks and crannies of it. And everybody's different. big proponent of individualism, but you know, we kind of work in the same way. Even as different as we are, there's still people that get under our skin. There's still, games that we don't like, and there's always something that makes us who we are. And I think you are, because of your the culture within your stream and how you view the stream and kind of like that holistic outlook. It seems like you find uh, more satisfaction being there, and you find more of your better self, not just your true self, but the person you aspire to be, than really just being backwards in life. And that kind of is what we were talking about, going back to your parents. Like, you you wanted to prove them wrong in a way. You wanted to say that's not true.
But now it's more, I don't care. I'm doing it for me.
Exactly.
Don't do it. Never do anything for anyone else. Do it for yourself. And
Exactly.
the moment I threw that to the wind, in fact, I'm actually getting along with them better now. I go to the dinners. I saw them for Christmas. It's the more you're trying to do something, and I'm just gonna cut in because I know what you're trying to say here.
Mm-hmm.
The more you're trying to do something for somebody else or trying to appease somebody else, the more you're not doing it for yourself. You're not
Mm-hmm.
doing things to better yourself. It's You're allowed to be an asshole in this world, but that
Mm-hmm.
doesn't mean being an asshole, if that makes sense. And I
Mm-hmm.
like to say in stream that I am an asshole and I am blunt and I don't pull my punches, but it's not because I'm trying to be a dick. And like others, I've seen troll streams where they are dicks because they just want to be.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just being honest. And I would rather be honest to you so that you feel honest with yourself and that you know exactly what you're getting at when you're coming into the stream, and that you're feeling genuine emotions and feelings from me, even if I'm just a content creator and we're across the screen here, than an act, because I don't want to mislead you. I don't want you to think something else. You get what you get. Do things for you. You will be a happier person. Do things for your dad. You end up like me. That's
I mean, are you happy with where you are now?
happy. Yes, I am.
Then
As
there you
much
go.
there used to be a point in life where I regretted everything I'd ever done, but now that time has passed and a lot of weed and mushroom, a lot of a lot of whoops, sorry, a lot of weed. uh, anyways,
some
Freudian
could
slip,
some
Freudian slip. A lot of self care, and I realized that who cares? Like who cares what happened in my past? I am who I am because of what happened in my past. As much as I
Absolutely.
might not like it, it forged me into who I am now.
That's
I
right.
can't change that. The past is the past is history. Tomorrow is a mystery, but today is the present. That's why they call it a gift.
From iron ore, you were pulled out from the fires of hell to being this great sword with a magical hilt.
Oh, great sword you said. One sec. One of these?
Yes, sir. Look at that hilt. Holy shit.
Oh yeah, here, one sec.
Holy crap. What a freaking hilt, dude. It's like a.
Sorry, you had to mention great sword, and I
Uh,
had to grab it.
listen, man. See, I was already on the ball. Maybe I saw that with my keen vision, just knowing
Orge.
that is a large freaking sword. Holy shit. That
Man,
hilt.
yeah, I designed this, by the way. I sent it to the person to make it, and they did. So I can say that this is a Saybin sword because it had my specific design here. But I may or may not have got one because I played Dark Souls and wanted one. So
Is this the
Zweihander,
saber?
Zweihander.
Oh, okay. Well, that sounds
The
better.
so
I was trying to do a play of words, but you just said something that was totally awesome. So I'm just not
fine.
gonna. So save it. Where can we find you on social media? How can we get in touch with this community? Where do we go?
Stream Tuesday to Sunday on Twitch at Saban, Twitch TV. I'm on Twitter constantly at Saban. I tweet a lot. I actually saw 24,000 tweets and I was kind of embarrassed about that. I'm on Instagram and Facebook as well, but who knows? Maybe in the future I'll be on TikTok as well. YouTube is kind of passive for me at the moment, but I'll be posting more on there as well. More later, and that's
Mm.
probably especially more with Outriders here because I'm finally getting some muse for that. So
I would love to because I want to get into Outriders. I
if
could use
if
some
you
guides.
got it, I will happily help you out here because I
Nice.
think you'd have fun with the Devastator shotgun build that I came up with. So
I feel like it's like I don't want it to be too much like Gears of War, where you're just
oh no no no
wall
you
jumping.
don't need cover in this game. You are the cover.
Oh, really?
The healing mechanic in Outriders quite literally comes down to aggressive. So in the same way I like Doom, where especially with the new Doom, where Doom Eternal is
Mm-hmm.
chainsaw for ammo, flamethrower for armor, glory kills for health. Uh, Outriders took a page from that and said, okay, get kills to heal. There are no health kits. There's no healing whatsoever.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to get healing, you have to kill. So with the Devastator, it is literally Doom Guy. You have to get close and you get more healing, the more damage is happening around you. And I'm like, I've seen this somewhere before, but I can't put a pin on it. Doom music in the
Hmm.
background, but I'm like, I think I found my class. So
I love it.
the pyromancer, whatever's on fire, they get healing from.
Mm-hmm.
Sniper, I don't remember what the trickster does. I have to look into the other classes, but they all reward basically aggression or killing or maiming in some way. So conducive to that class. So
Mm-hmm. So good. So we can find you on Outrider. And for now, taking a break from Elite Dangerous, but like,
no, no, I'm doing Elite tomorrow. I rotate the games on a daily basis, so it'll be Elite tomorrow with a little bit of VR chat. I'm thinking.
mhm.
I might do some Hunt Showdown. Oh my god, I got addicted to
Right. I
Hunt.
forgot that's you.
See, I got tired of Tarkov because Tarkov went from military shooter to streamer shooter, and
Yeah.
I have opinions on Tarkov. But anyways, yeah, Hunt is my Tarkov light,
Hmm.
and I've been having a lot of fun with yeah. So it's been Outriders, Elite, and Hunt, and then I'm trying to rotate Doom back in, so we do Slayer Sundays at the end of the day. So
Ooh.
trying to I'd like to see if I can get back to doing like the speed running speed that which I used to be able to.
Hmm.
So yeah,
Sounds great, man. I can't wait to watch the stream tomorrow. And again, like guys, I appreciate you guys coming out watching this interview. It's been amazing just to get to know the streamer behind, the screen. Because again, how else are we gonna ever really all come together just to kind of get to know each other, right? Like we play video games, we have fun, we're focused on the objective at hand. But like here, like this during this pond fire segment was kind of a good example of like we're really getting to know the person because that's what's really more important, behind the culture of the stream. So I want to thank you, Saban, for your courage and coming on board and just not shying away from questions and just giving it everything.
I don't think
Everything.
I ever do. So
That's a
what's
good.
that?
Hey,
Balls deep. Okay.
mm. All right, buddy. I will. I'll actually. I'll Discord you and I'll let you know when the video's on YouTube so that you keep you in the
Sounds good.
loop. All
Feel
right.
free to use the self promote and post it in my Discord too.
Okay. Yeah. For sure, man. Appreciate it.
No problem.
Have a good one. Be good. Shine that great sword. Love that man. He's a good dude. He's a good dude.